A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender-Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Ladies, isn't it a grand and glorious thrill to hear the family praise a special dinner of yours? Of course it is. And you can bet that compliments will come fast and furious every time you serve Kroger quality beef. What a tasty treat. Tender? Yes, ma'am. Delicious? Yes, sirree. Why, it's just brimming with flavory-rich juices, with delicious tenderness. Just think what a wonderful thrill it'll be for you to surprise your family with a thick, juicy steak, or a crusty brown roast of beef. Or perhaps the folks at your house go for savory beef stew, or boiled beef with horseradish. Well, no matter which main dish you choose, you'll find the delightful goodness of Kroger quality beef will please the entire family. Remember, Kroger quality beef is carefully selected from the best beef on the market today. And not only is it the best grade of beef available, it's also priced for real thrift. So be sure to visit your Kroger store soon, the only place you can buy it, and get Kroger quality beef. It's deliciously tasty and tender, and it's available now at your Kroger store. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Against all advice to the contrary, Penny Gibbs has reported the missing $2,000 to her employer, Carrie Carlton. The aged woman took the news much too calmly. And later, as Penny prepares to leave home for her appointment with a mysterious man, she says to young Nora Williams,
Nora?
Yes, Miss Gibbs?
If Johnny Keith or Freddie gets here before I come back, tell him I won't need the money.
You won't, Miss Gibbs?
Mm-mm.
You mean Mrs. Carlton gave you the money herself?
No, I'm to go ahead without the money tonight. She said she'd settle with me about that later.
Oh, that doesn't sound very good.
You should have heard the way she said it.
Was she angry?
No, Nora. That's the frightening part of it. She didn't seem at all angry. But I'm sure she was inside.
Oh, Crickets, that's the worst kind of being angry, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd much rather have had her scream her head off at me.
Golly, I wonder what she's going to do.
I don't know. But there isn't even time to think about that now. I have to go if I'm to keep my appointment on time.
Oh, golly, Miss Gibbs, I feel just awful about all of this.
Well, I don't know why you should, Nora. It was certainly none of your doing.
But it was, in a way. Freddie didn't take that money to spend on himself. He took it so Daddy could get the dairy started. And he did it for Daddy on account of me.
Nora, it doesn't matter why he did it. The point is that he did do it of his own volition. But even that isn't important. What is important is that he did do it, and it has to be undone somehow.
But it seems as if Mrs. Carlton is going to undo it, and it isn't going to be exactly fun for you.
Well, whatever happens, Nora, I deserve it. I should lose my job over this, and I probably will. Somehow or other, I have to pay Mrs. Carlton the missing $2,000.
With all her money? Oh, that seems a shame. $2,000 can't mean so much to her.
Because she's rich?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does, Nora. One reason some people are richer than others is that they value money more highly than others.
But, Crickets, what did Mrs. Carlton ever do to earn all her money? I'll bet just anything that was left to her, every penny.
Nora, it isn't right to say that unless you know it. Now, no one knows exactly where Mrs. Carlton did get her money. Maybe she's always had it. Maybe she made it herself. She was very rich when she came to Rossville.
Well, didn't Mrs. Carlton always live here?
No, dear. She was living here when you were born, though. I think she'd been here about 2 years when you were born.
Well, where'd she come from, New York?
I don't know. No one knows. And she's never given anyone a chance to ask.
Oh, Cricket, she's just super mysterious, isn't she?
Well, I wouldn't call her mysterious exactly. Retiring's a better word. Golly, look at the time. I better get out of here.
Oh, will you be all right, Miss Gibbs?
Yes, Nora, for the time being anyway. The only immediate worry I have is in regard to that money. And the next move on that is Mrs. Carlton.
Come in, Miss Gibbs.
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
You're right on time. You must have been warned.
Yes, I was.
I'll be with you in a minute.
Must you lock the door?
I prefer locked doors. You don't mind?
I suppose not.
Well, it wouldn't matter if you did. Be seated. We'll talk in a minute.
All right.
We had no trouble getting here?
No, none. I took the back road as you told me. There were no other cars coming along the way. Well, why are you looking out the window? Won't a light be seen from outside if you pull back the blinds?
Not much of a light when I stand in the way of the lamp. I want to be sure you were not followed here.
I'm very sure that I wasn't.
If you followed my instructions, you weren't. It's a nasty night out, isn't it?
Yes, very.
I hope you didn't mind having to drive so far out into the country on such a night.
It wasn't a long drive. I made it in 25 minutes.
You left Rossville only 25 minutes ago?
Mm-hmm.
You took a chance on being late then, didn't you?
I knew how far it was to here.
But if you'd been delayed on the way, flat tire, motor trouble, traffic, you would have been late. And I might not have been here.
Mr. Blake, I was sure I wouldn't be delayed, and I was sure that you'd wait a few minutes.
You shouldn't be so sure of such uncertain things, Miss Gibbs.
Well, certainly you'd have given me a few minutes' grace.
Not one, Miss Gibbs.
Why is property so important to you?
My business is dangerous, Miss Gibbs. Precision is important.
Well, certainly a meeting.
This meeting sets the wheels in motion. This meeting is also a test. I must be sure of you before I agree to do anything you ask.
Well, so far I've kept my part of the bargain.
So far, yes. But we have a great deal more to do, and from here on, what I have to do is unpleasant. I don't care to do it.
Then why do you?
Because you've told me that you'll pay me if I do, and pay me well.
Whatever you ask. That's within reason.
I think $5,000 to begin with is within reason, isn't it?
I think we agreed it was the other evening, Mr. Blake.
And I'll take it now.
There'll be a slight delay in delivering the money.
Oh, no.
Well, there'll have to be a slight delay. I've, had a little trouble getting the money together.
Miss Gibbs, I doubt if you're good for $5,000. I've always doubted.
Mr. Blake, I told you that I wasn't wealthy myself, but that I had a little money and was getting the rest of what I need from another source.
How?
Quite legitimately. You'll have no trouble spending the money if that's what's worrying you.
What's worrying me right now is getting it. I'll be able to tell later whether or not it's safe to spend. I have ways of testing those things.
You'll get the money tomorrow night.
But I was promised the money tonight. I like promptness, remember.
I know that, but this couldn't be helped. Surely you won't refuse to do the job.
I don't know.
You'll get the $5,000 tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night? Or will you come here again and tell me it's still tomorrow night?
I will have the money with me tomorrow night.
All right, I'll give you one more chance.
Thank you. Now, have you made your contact?
I said I would.
Have you made it?
Yes.
You're sure it's the right person to see?
I said I'd get to the right person, Miss Gibbs. I got to the right person.
Is he going to cause a lot of trouble?
His business is causing trouble, Miss Gibbs. I don't like the idea of working with him.
But you will.
For $5,000 tomorrow night, and the rest later when the job is over.
You'll get the rest, don't worry. Now, how much will it cost altogether? I mean, what you have to pay this contact you made.
I don't know. He doesn't talk business as easily as I do. He doesn't need money.
And what does that mean?
That means it's going to cost you a lot. He's going to cost you a lot, I mean.
How much?
Much more than you're paying me. You want to forget the whole thing?
No.
It's not too late. I'll just charge $5,000 for my services so far, and you can save the rest.
No, we'll go through with it.
All right. But I want to warn you, Miss Gibbs. Once I make this contact again, there'll be no backing out. You must deliver the money on the line and do and go where you're told, or your health will be slightly impaired.
I realize what kind of men we're dealing with.
Unpleasant men, Miss Gibbs. I have no illusions about myself, but I'm a noble character by comparison. You're sure you want me to go ahead with everything?
I'm positive, Mr. Blake. I'll be here with your money tomorrow night at 9.
Don't you think you ought to ask me whether or not 9 o'clock is satisfactory to me?
I'm sorry. Is it?
Yes, quite.
Well, then why did I have to ask you?
I just want you to know who's the boss from here on, Miss Gibbs. Maybe you're paying me and paying me a small fortune, but I'm not working for you. Understand?
Yes, I understand.
Now, remember that, Miss Gibbs. And remember to bring that $5,000 with you at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, because if you don't, I'll remember.
How do you do?
Hello.
I'm Carrie Carlton. May I come in?
Mrs. Carlton. Oh, Cricket, yes, come in.
Thank you.
Golly, Mrs. Carlton, Miss Gibbs isn't home.
I'm well aware that Miss Gibbs is not at home. She's out on an errand for me, or should be. You must be Nora Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
Splendid. You're just the person I want to talk to. There's no one else at home?
No, Mrs. Carlton, they're all out. I'm here alone, except for the baby.
It's just as I hoped it would be. Where can I sit down and talk to you?
Why, right here in the living room, Mrs. Carlton. You will have to excuse me.
Please, no apologies for anything, young lady. I didn't expect to walk into a mansion. This chair looks as if it'll suit me. This is quite satisfactory.
Yes, ma'am.
Young lady, don't stand there and gawk at me. Am I a strange monstrosity? Haven't you ever seen an old woman before?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Carlton, but I've never seen you before, and I've heard so much about you.
Oh, I see. You're expecting me to snort fire and brimstone at the moment, aren't you? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm quite an ordinary human being.
Yes, ma'am.
And stop agreeing with me. Where's the spark of youth I hear so much about? It's a myth. But never mind about that.
No, ma'am.
I said to stop agreeing. Oh, what's the use? Young lady, do you know who took that $2,000 from Miss Gibbs?
Yes.
Who?
Didn't Miss Gibbs tell you?
No, because I told her not to. But don't answer my question with a question. Who took that money?
Freddie.
Who's Freddie?
Freddie Lang.
Freddie Lang?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Why did he take it?
Oh, crickets, Mrs. Carlton. He did it for a just super and scrumptious reason. You see, my daddy and Freddie have a dairy farm together. It was an old rundown place that they fixed up to look just beautiful. Well, they had everything but a herd, and when they got the herd, it was held up by the railroad because Daddy and Freddie couldn't pay for it. So Freddie just borrowed the money from Miss Gibbs to get the herd, because without the herd, the dairy wouldn't be any good, and my daddy would have been terribly in debt, and well, everything that was going to be wonderful would have been just awful.
He took the money to buy cows.
Yes, Mrs. Carlton, for Daddy's dairy. Well, Daddy and Freddie are partners. Freddie didn't mean to do anything wrong, Mrs. Carlton. He thought the money belonged to Miss Gibbs, and he thought she wouldn't need it for a long time, and he was going to pay it back, every cent of it. Honestly, he was.
Well, this is very interesting. Good night, young lady.
Oh, Mrs. Carlton, you're not going, are you?
Yes, I found out what I came to find out.
You're angry.
Young lady, anger is a waste of energy, and at my age, I need to conserve the little energy I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop agreeing with me. When Miss Gibbs comes in, tell her I want to see her first thing tomorrow morning. It's very important.
Now that Mrs. Carlton knows why Freddie took the money, what will she do? And what will happen in the important meeting of Penny Gibbs and Carrie Carlton tomorrow morning? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Lady, we'd like to have a private word with you. There's something important we want you to know about beef, and it's this. The best beef that's available on today's market is Kroger quality beef. Yes, Kroger quality beef is deliciously tender and juicy, and it's your 100% correct answer to what shall I have for dinner. Now is the time to serve the dinner that's sure to please everybody. Now is the time to thrill your folks with a delicious beef dinner. Surprise them by serving boiled beef with a tangy horseradish sauce to enhance the goodness of savory meat. Delight them with roast beef that's crusty brown and juicy red. Or satisfy those vigorous appetites with a magnificently thick steak. Soon as you can, visit your Kroger store and get Kroger quality beef. And remember, Kroger quality beef is the very best beef you can buy today. Now your local announcer.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, a quiz program does not always improve your IQ. But when it's an NBC radio quiz program, you can be sure it will improve your disposition. Yes, NBC offers listeners a laugh session every Wednesday night with 2 fun-filled question-and-answer shows. One is Truth or Consequences. And though you may never learn why a chicken crosses the road, you'll howl as contestants perform the stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey. The other is You Bet Your Life. And with a quizmaster like Groucho Marx, your good time is always guaranteed. Hear Truth or Consequences and You Bet Your Life tomorrow. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. X-1 in 1 minute. This week is Military Reserve Week. If you're a young man between the ages of 17 and 18 and a half, you can fulfill your military obligation with only 6 months of active duty. You need no longer ask yourself, when will I be drafted? By joining the 6-month reserve training program, you become draft exempt and can plan your future with confidence. You are paid for your service while in training. You may be able to pick the exact job you want, depending upon your aptitudes and Army vacancies. You may enlist in the program and then receive a deferment until you have finished high school. Your training will teach you to protect yourself and your family in any emergency. The training builds you physically, and the technical skills you learn can help you later in your civilian career. There are many other big advantages for you in the 6-month training program. Visit your Army Reserve Center for all the facts about your big opportunity in the 6-month training program. Learn how you can plan your future with confidence.
The book says, when the ship shall enter into the orbital pool of its destination, the motors will change in sound due to the increased anti-gravity components. A study is being made to interpret the meaning of the word destination, which was lost some 4,000 years ago and has always been a subject for much controversy. But this need not concern you. Suffice to be reassured that the change in the sound of the motors is a part of the scheme of things. Return to the schedule. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, The Sense of Wonder by Milton Lesser.
The huge ship sped endlessly through space on a voyage that had lasted 10,000 years, the journey which had no end. And for those aboard her, there was no other universe. To them, the ship was all. The ship is all. Rykud read the slogan embossed in raised letters of steel outside the door to the priest's compartment. The ship is all. His eyes wandered to the face of the young man standing next to him, his superior, Kreifer. The face had the empty, unquestioning expression that was typical of the people of the ship.
Are you ready, Kreifer?
I am. Enter.
Come in.
Well? I am Kreifer. Superior class, 3rd level, compartment Y51.
Welcome.
This is my attendant, Rykud.
Be welcome. Praise the ship. Praise the ship.
What is your mission?
My superior's schedule shows that today he is 25 units of age. He is ordered to appear before the priest of the 3rd level to be given a woman.
You have the schedule with you?
Here.
Good. You have your certificate of health and fertility?
Show him the certificate, Rykud. Don't just stand there dreaming.
Oh, yes. Here.
Good. Return to your compartment. I will have the matron bring you a woman from the 4th level. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Kreifer returned to his compartment, followed by Rykud. There was no questioning in the mind of either of them. At birth, each of the people was classified as a superior or an attendant, and the coded marking of his schedule was tattooed on his right arm. Both of these young men were 25, strongly built, and tanned from constant exposure to the health rays in the ship's conditioning room. Kreifer wore the loose-fitting robe of a superior. Rykud wore the tight trousers and shirt of an attendant. They entered the comfortably furnished compartment.
Kreifer.
Yes.
What do you suppose she'll be like?
What difference does it make?
Don't you even wonder about it?
I wonder about nothing. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Well, naturally, but still...
We've been together as superior and attendant ever since the nursery. As an attendant, your entire purpose in life is to keep me alive and productive, to perpetuate the people. I would hate to have to part with you now.
To part with me?
Not of my own choosing, of course, but sometimes I detect what appears to be a strain of unorthodox thinking.
Really? I was not aware of it.
I am not entirely aware of it myself. Not enough for me to report you. However, I must warn you that if it should increase, I will have to send you for therapy.
Well, I assure you there'll be no need for that. I've never deviated from the schedule. I have never disobeyed the buzzer.
I am merely observing, asking questions like, don't you even wonder this is the first step to unorthodoxy?
I shall watch myself for signs of it.
Good. The eating buzzer.
Your schedule calls for a massive dose of multivitamins.
Fine. Prepare it in the green vegetables today.
Today is a starch day.
Oh, I'd forgotten.
We could just skip it today.
Riker.
Well...
Of course, skipping the vitamins for one day is a permissible deviation, but I shall have to report for punishment tomorrow.
Well?
Skip the vitamins.
I knew we would. You've never missed a permissible deviation yet.
It's your influence that makes me do it.
And you always blame it on me.
That's what attendants are for.
Yes, I know.
Now, that must be the matron with the woman. Open the door. Maintain the utmost dignity, please.
Yes?
Is this the compartment of Kryfer, third level, Y51?
Yes.
I am matron of the woman's level.
Enter. I am Rykud, Kryfer's attendant. This is Kryfer.
I have brought a mate for you. This is she.
Be welcome. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Her name is Aylin.
Welcome, Aylin.
I am most happy to be here. Praise the ship.
Come. I will show you which compartment is to be ours. This way. There are 5 compartments in this suite, and ours will be...
Will you take food, matron? Why do you look at me that way?
That mark on your forehead. You have always had such a mark?
Yes.
And you have another diamond-shaped on your right shoulder?
How could you know such a thing?
Your name is Rykud.
Rykud.
How like him you look.
How like whom?
Your father.
My what?
Of course, you could not know the meaning.
What do you say?
When you were born, like any of the people of the ship, you were taken immediately and placed in the nursery of the ship. You never knew who sired you, nor did they know you.
Naturally. It's according to the schedule.
Yes, it's according to the schedule.
I have a strange feeling toward you. I can't explain it.
What sort of feeling, Rykud?
As if we've met before. But that's impossible, of course.
Yes. Still, there have been cases, it is almost heresy to mention it, where a mother has been able to keep her child for a while.
Such a female would be turned over to the control chief and fed into the converter.
If she were discovered.
It is a criminal thing to do. It is said to warp the child so that he becomes a heretic at an early age.
Yes, it is very, very criminal.
Still, you say there have been cases.
Once there was a woman, it is said, an attendant, who managed to conceal such a child behind one of the forbidden doors for almost 3 years.
Behind the doors? It's unspeakable.
Very likely only a rumor.
It's shocking to hear of such things. Behind the forbidden door.
You're shocked, and yet something seems to stir deep in your memory, perhaps.
Nothing.
You're certain?
Why do you speak to me thus, woman?
Come closer.
What is it?
Closer. But there's no chance that we'll be overheard.
Well?
Rykud, you are that child.
I will not listen. I will not listen.
You are that child.
How could you know such a thing?
I am 70 units of age. 25 units ago, I was a matron of the nursery. This person came to me and told me of her child, which she had concealed in the space lock behind the forbidden door. She begged me to take it and place it in the nursery with the other children. I had been her attendant for many years, and we were close to each other. I did as she asked.
But are you certain this child was me?
I remember the marks upon it.
And I am doomed.
Why doomed?
I have known my own parent. This accounts for the strange feelings that come over me sometimes.
What feelings are those?
A feeling... a sense of wonder.
Oh.
You seem pleased.
Rykud.
What?
Your superior returns. I cannot speak. But if you would satisfy this sense of wonder, I have a book which I will give you.
I cannot accept a book without the supervision of the ship's librarian.
Take this one. Keep it concealed. Here.
No.
Take it quickly. They're coming.
Well, what are you two whispering about?
I was merely explaining to your attendant how he must behave in the presence of your mate.
There is no need to explain. All is scheduled. Nothing is questioned. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship. I hope that your union will produce the optimum number of children. I'll leave now.
Aylin.
Yes, Chrysler.
Your duties will be very simple. Reichert will teach you how to prepare my meals, and you will memorize my schedule. In 3 months, he will be freed from service as my attendant, and he will report to the second level to find a mate in the attendant class.
Yes, Chrysler.
It's time for my health treatment. Teacher Reichert.
Yes, Chrysler. Come here. Closer, where I may examine you. This is Chrysler's schedule. You will memorize it.
Yes.
Here is a list of permissible deviations.
Oh, I'm familiar with it, naturally.
I see. I was not aware of what training you received on the women's level.
The matron trained us well.
Good. You have been with the matron a long time?
Ever since I left the nursery.
I see. What is she called?
Mara.
Mara? Tell me, did she ever speak to you of a sense of wonder?
Are you of the control police?
Certainly not.
Then you should know better than to discuss feelings.
I'm sorry. I thought perhaps...
What's that?
The change bell. There has been some change.
It frightens me. Oh, what does it mean?
I don't know. I heard it only once before. When the ship passed very close to a red planet, there was a shower of stars, and the ship seemed to shake, and the change bell rang. We were all summoned to the priest and told that we must undergo a test for radioactivity.
What are we to do now?
Reichert, Aylin, quickly. It is the change bell. We are all summoned to the priest of our level. Quickly.
Within a few moments, the people of the third level of the ship were assembled in the area outside the compartment of Chul, the priest. They stood there trembling, listening in panic to the clangor of the change bell, not daring to wonder what it meant, but aware that something different had happened. Something different.
I'm frightened.
Hush! The priest is coming.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Listen to Chul, your priest. I have just been in contact with the chief priest of the ship. This is what I have been given to say. For 10,000 years now, ever since the ship began the voyage which has no end, we have lived as one people following the schedule. In those years, the change bell has rung only twice. On one occasion, it was to announce a change in the schedule for the preservation of the people of the ship following the epidemic. On another occasion, the ship passed close to a radioactive explosion, and it was feared that we had become dangerously activated. Now the change bell has rung again. You wish to know the reason, naturally. I am given to tell you there has been a change in the sound of the motor. There is no cause for alarm. The priests have consulted the book which no man may see save the high priest, and we have learned that there is in the book a provision for a change in the sound of the motors. The book says, when the ship shall enter into the orbital pool of its destination, the motors will change in sound due to the increased anti-gravity components. A study is being made to interpret the meaning of the word destination, which was lost some 4,000 years ago and has always been a subject for much controversy. But this need not concern you. Suffice to be reassured that the change in the sound of the motors is a part of the scheme of things. Return to the schedule. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
On his way back to his compartment, Reichert stopped for a moment in front of the forbidden door which led to no one knew what, and listened to the sound of the motors. Yes, it was true. There was a new sound. It was frightening, and yet at the same time it made Reichert's heart leap with expectation. He looked at the forbidden door again and read the warning.
No unauthorized persons permitted through this door.
Attendant?
Yes.
What's your name and compartment?
Reichert, attendant to Kreifer, third level, Y51. Who are you?
Graf, control police. Why do you loiter outside the forbidden door?
I was merely reading the warning. trying to impress it upon my brain.
Is there a need to impress it? You have doubts?
Well, no. No, of course not.
Then why bother to impress it? If you have no doubts, there's no need to impress it.
Well, I was merely... You see, I am engaged in the training of a mate for my superior. I wish to make certain that she knows every jot and line of the warning.
Has she doubts?
I'm sure she does not.
Then why impress the warning upon her? It should be sufficiently impressed upon her since birth.
I was merely...
You were merely loitering, eh? Tell me, Rykud, do you ever wonder what is behind the forbidden door?
Never.
Are you perfectly content?
Perfectly.
Good. I'm going to enter your name in my report as a warning. See that it is not repeated.
I will see.
Return to your compartment.
I will return. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Rykud went back to his own compartment. He tried to push the events of the day out of his mind. It was almost too much to cope with. First, the mate for Kreiper, then the news of his birth, now the change in the sound of the motors, and the book. Rykud lay inside his bunk, drew the curtain, and took the tiny, ancient plastic book from his trouser belt. He opened it and began to read.
It was thought advisable to keep from the passengers on the ship the fact that their voyage might end in catastrophe. Forced to leave the Earth because of its radioactivity following the 3 wars, the inhabitants of the ship, to all intents and purposes, became the inhabitants of a new world. The ship was their world. The organizers of the expedition felt it would be cruel to inform them that the ship's navigation machinery had been set in a series of ever-increasing circles and then ever-decreasing circles, so that in 10,000 years the ship would return to Earth. There was the possibility that Earth would no longer exist, or that the radioactivity would have made it uninhabitable, even if the remaining humans hadn't managed to explode it. Therefore, the ship became all. Even the word destination was eliminated. If it were known that I had chronicled this account, I would most certainly be executed and the book destroyed. Most likely it will pass into legend and be disbelieved anyway, just as fairy tales and even biblical accounts have become tolerated but disbelieved by many who were...
The sleep buzzer sounded, and Rykud's eyes closed automatically. Ordinarily, the people of the ship did not dream. It was considered a sign that therapy was needed. Tonight, Rykud dreamed.
Rise. Dress. Eat.
Raise the ship.
Rise. Eat. Dress.
The ship is off.
Rykud.
Oh, no.
Rykud.
What? Shh. What is it?
You've been dreaming. I heard you and came in to see what was troubling you.
Where's Kreifer?
He sleeps like the dead.
I was dreaming. Ellen, look at me and tell me the truth. Do you ever dream? Do you?
Yes.
I know it. I could tell it by looking at your eyes.
But you mustn't tell anyone.
I won't. You were very close to the matron, were you not?
Yes.
Did she ever read to you?
Read?
Did she ever read from this?
Where did you get that?
She gave it to me.
Then you must be one of the trusted ones.
Who are the trusted ones?
Some of us, the women who were with the matron since we were very small, we've been trusted by her to hear the reading of this book.
I see.
But if anyone found out...
I know.
Rykud?
Yes?
I feel very strange.
I, too.
What is it?
I don't know.
Sometimes, after the matron had read to us from the book, I would have this feeling, strange and frightened. And she would comfort us.
Comfort? What does that mean?
She would put her arms around us.
And did that comfort you?
Yes.
How terribly strange.
Rykud?
Yes?
Comfort me. Put your arms around me.
Helen.
Please, will you?
Yes.
On the following morning, when Kreifer went to the conditioning room, as prescribed by the buzzer, Rykud drew Aylin over to the spaceport and slid aside the protective shield.
Look.
I am looking.
Tell me what you see.
I see the stars and space.
Look closely. Do you see nothing unusual?
I so seldom look through the spaceport.
I'll tell you then. Look there. See that one star, so big and so bright that it hurts your eyes?
Well?
I've been watching it. It is growing larger each hour.
Stars do that.
Never has one been this large.
What difference does it make? The stars exist only as pictures in the glass of the viewport. They're not real. The ship is all.
That is what we are told, but perhaps it isn't true.
What?
Perhaps these stars do not exist only in the glass at the viewport. Perhaps they exist beyond the viewport.
I don't understand.
Let me say it this way once and forever. Perhaps, Aylin, the ship is not all.
Rykud, your heresy frightens me. Rykud, hold me close. It frightens me even to look at you. Oh, Rykud, you mustn't even think it.
I do think it. I believe it. I believe the ship is not all.
And I believe you are a candidate for the converter.
Kreifer.
Don't move, Rykud, or I'll blast you into dust. It is bad enough for an attendant even to touch his superior's mate, but to couple it with the ultimate heresy. There is nothing but death in this.
Kreifer, I beg of you.
Stand aside, Aylin. I'm going to finish this heretic. Now, Rykud. Oh.
Have I killed him?
No, he's just stunned.
Oh, Rykud, what can we do?
I don't know.
Rykud, the change bell again. Something's happening.
I know what has happened. Come, we'll go to the priest.
What about Kreifer? He'll have us killed.
No, it's too late to think of that. Come. Stand close to me. The priest is entering.
Silence! Once again, the change bell has sounded. There has been another change. Doubtless you all felt the shock and the vibration a moment ago. I am informed that the motors have stopped. Silence! However, once again, there is no need for any panic or alarm. We will continue to live our lives just as before. The only thing that has changed is that the motors have stopped and that the view in the viewports has changed. Behold. The view in the viewports has been changed from the stars to a garden. That is all there is to it. The book makes mention of the fact that the view in the viewports is changeable. Go back to your compartments and resume the schedule. The buzzer will be your guide as always. The ship is all.
The ship is all.
Wait! No, I have something to say. Listen, this is what I have to say. The ship is no longer all.
Seize him!
Keep back! I have my superior's ray gun. I will destroy any who move to seize me. Listen to what I have to say. The view in the viewports is not just a garden. It is the destination. It is the earth. Don't you understand me? We have arrived. We have reached the destination. The journey is over. We can leave the ship and go out into the garden. Fools, can't you understand? Watch the viewport. Watch it. The viewport is broken. I've shattered it. You can go out. Feel the air rush in. Smell its fragrance.
Why could they don't move? They don't understand.
Seize him! Kill the heretic! Kill him!
Why could they're moving toward us?
Run. Follow me quick.
After him! Death to the heretic!
Rykud and Aylin ran down the long steel corridor with the crowd on their heels. After a few moments, they came to the forbidden door of the control room.
Aylin, quick, in here.
Rykud, it's forbidden.
I'll have to blast the lock. Quickly, now come. Now, help me close the door. Now the bar. We're safe in here for a while. Not even the priest can make them come in here after us. It'll take them time to figure out what to do.
Rykud, look. Look at the machinery. It's frightening.
We're in the control room. It tells about it in the book. You see this big machine here? There was a drawing in the book. This is the machine that controls the buzzer.
Just a simple machine like that?
Yes, a simple machine. Stand back.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to smash it. Now they're going to have to find a way to live without the buzzer.
Like they're breaking down the door.
Come with me.
Where can we go? There's nothing except the ship.
No, there's more than the ship now, Ellen. There's the Earth. The cool green Earth. I'm going to smash the viewport. Come on. We're going to leave the ship.
Why could I'm frightened? Put your arms around me.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Come, Ellen. Take my hand. Here is the Earth. And it is ours.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features a story by F.L. Wallace titled Mesereau Loves Company. When Marcus Mesereau set out on his mission to Earth, he was driven by pride and indignation, plus a practical reason. But if he'd known what lay ahead, he might have decided to let bad enough alone. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Sense of Wonder, based on a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Milton Lesser and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were James Monks, Bill Quinn, Edwin Jerome, Vera Allen, Rita Lloyd, Joe DeSantis, and Dick Hamilton. Raymond Edward Johnson was the narrator. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Now, stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, the Frank Quattrocchi story, Sea Legs.
I stood in line at the Grav 1 desk with the old notch service record and tapes in my hand and waited for the board processing clerk to speak. The clerk seemed utterly indifferent to the excitement of the men in the line. I wondered how long he'd been out here on this godforsaken Zone 5 planet.
Next. Name?
Robert Craig.
Occupation?
Flight officer.
Destination?
Earth.
Earth?
Anything wrong with that?
Well, I guess not. How long since you've been on Earth, Mr. Craig?
Well, I've never been there. My parents left during the second colonization of Cassiopeia. I was born there.
Have you ever been in a gravity system?
Oh, just briefly. Under drugs, of course.
You'll have to go through the gravity conditioning course.
Yes, so I was told.
Proceed to the airlock chamber on your right and follow the robot's orders. Good luck. You may need it. Next.
I went into the chamber and stripped off my clothing while the robot droned its orders.
Remove all metal objects from your person. Place them in the plastic tube at your left. Now stand underneath the decontamination tube. Depress the button with your right foot. This is all. Proceed through the green door to the psychometric section. Please respond quickly to orders, and so to not impede the progress of others. Next, please.
The door to the psychometric section led into a pleasant but cold-looking room with a single metal desk. A man with a balding, high forehead sat behind the desk.
Mr. Craig, have a seat. I'm Captain Wyandotte, the psychological officer.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, well, let's see your records. You list your destination as Terra. You're certain you wish to go to Earth?
Of course I'm certain.
You're somewhat aggressive, Mr. Craig.
Look, I've been standing in line taking orders from clerks and robots for 6 hours. Every time somebody sees that I'm headed for Earth, I get the fish eye. Are they jealous or what?
I hardly think so. You've been a spaceman for 16 years, Mr. Craig. You've been zooming around in the countergraph systems in the outer galaxies without any restraints or self-discipline.
Have you ever spent 6 weeks strapped into a grav seat on a space rocket, Captain? There's a good deal of self-discipline involved in that.
I think you'll find things on Terra require a different kind of self-discipline, Mr. Craig.
Well, I'm pretty much aware of what it's like.
Are you? I suppose you've heard all the popularizations in the tapezines. Well, Mr. Craig, let me give you a word of caution. It's going to be vastly different.
I'm prepared for that, Captain. Can we get going?
Naturally. You will undergo a 20-day conditioning course.
20 days?
Mr. Craig, you've been in space 16 years. Your body is conditioned to a normal state of free fall, or at best to acceleration. The return to gravity would kill you if you weren't prepared for it.
All right, what do I do?
Report to Centrifugal Department. Here are your papers. Oh, and Mr. Craig.
Yes?
Centrifugal is a rather trying ordeal. If during the course of treatment you should change your mind about returning to Earth, you're free to do so.
Thanks. I won't. I'd heard about centrifugal, but you can never really know about these things until you experience them. 4 times a day we were whirled around until it seemed as if our insides were too big for our bodies. On the 12th day, it got to be too much for me. I was in the base hospital for 5 days. My roommate was an old space bum they'd brought in to die with a case of ruptured veins. His name was Charlie Brockman.
How you feel, son?
I'm pretty good, Charlie.
You get discharged tomorrow, I hear. You gonna try it again?
I guess so.
Why?
Only way I'll ever get to Earth.
You really want to go?
That's right.
You talked to anybody been there last 10 years or so?
No, you don't get to talk to many people from Earth and the galaxies. Were you ever there?
Me? Now, what would an old space bum like me be doing on Terra?
Well, I just thought maybe...
I done most of my time in Zone 5. Out there, you get to thinking anybody who stays less than 80 light years from Earth is a landlubber.
Yeah, I used to think the same. Then I took the exam for a job back on Earth, and I passed it.
I used to think I'd like to go back. But space was exciting, you know. New and raw. It tugged at your guts, and it sent the blood rushing through your veins. But it was free. No bureaucrat ever lasted 6 months in Grav 5.
I had enough hitting atmospheres all over the universe, old man.
Maybe you're right. Lean over here, will you?
Sure.
Unbutton my pajama top, will you?
Okay.
There's a chain around my neck. Got a little message capsule on it.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Do me a favor, huh? Take it with you when you go back to Terra. Don't open it till you're on the ship.
Okay, Charlie.
And, son.
Yes?
I lied to you. I have been back to Terra. I faked some papers and made a landing there 6 months ago.
What are you doing back here?
I had to leave in a hurry.
Why?
You'll find out, son. Good luck.
Charlie died the next day. A few hours later, I was visited by Captain Wyandotte, the psych officer.
How are you feeling, Craig?
Okay.
You still want to go back to Earth?
Yes.
You're completely sure you want to live out your life there, to give up space service for it?
Look, we've gone through this, Captain. Now, you tell me that spacemen don't settle down on Terra, yet you won't or you can't tell me why. All right, what's the pitch? Does the Space Service need men so badly that they have to make it impossible for us to go back?
That, Mr. Craig, you will have to discover for yourself. You have my authorization to complete your conditioning and return to Earth as a private citizen. I wish you luck. You'll need all you can get.
Somehow I managed to survive the torments for 18 days. I was ready to return to Earth. A month later, I descended from a huge intergalactic jet at Los Angeles Spaceport. I was dead tired from the trip. I checked in at the nearest inexpensive hotel.
This is your room, sir.
Just put the bags down, will you? I'll unpack myself.
Yes, sir. Just back from outer space, sir?
Yeah, that's right. How could you tell?
Sea legs.
Sea legs?
Oh, the way you walk. You can tell when somebody's been in the low-grav systems.
Oh, well, here.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Craig. For another 5 units, I'll tell you where it is.
Where what is?
You know, the mic.
Mic?
Okay, make it 3 units. I won't hold you up.
You mean a microphone?
Yeah, that's right. They wanted to put screens in, but the boss convinced him there ain't any Freedomites ever stay here.
Freedomites?
Not so loud. You want to get controlled?
No. Here's the money. Where is it?
It's in the bed illuminator. You can short it with a razor blade.
Thanks.
You, want any sensation tapes?
What are they?
You know, mental image tapes. Oh, boy, you've been away from Terra a long time.
Wait a minute, before you go, son.
Yeah?
Where's the minerals building? I have to report there for a job interview.
Oh, it's in the government cluster. 5th level at X and 2nd.
Thanks. I'll want breakfast about 8 o'clock.
Well, I'll need your ISS units.
My what?
Your ration units.
I don't have any ration units.
You have your ident card?
Look, I just got here an hour ago.
Oh. Well, you better go see the Civil Control Board tomorrow. If you want to eat, that is.
All right, where do I find the control board?
Government cluster. But don't worry. If you don't find them, they'll find you.
I went to sleep that night with the uneasy feeling that somebody was watching me. It had been a weird day. I hadn't exactly liked it. Well, I told myself it figured that there'd be more formalities and rigmarole on Earth than there were out in the systems, especially at first. Still, I couldn't get the idea of the concealed microphone out of my mind.
You may relax, Mr. Craig. You are Mr. Craig?
Yes, Robert Craig.
You aren't nervous, are you?
No. This is my first time before the control board, and... well, it's my first time.
Flight officer, eh? Somewhat unusual for a vigorous young man like yourself abandoning space service, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it?
Leaving something behind, Mr. Craig?
No.
You don't like this sort of affair, do you, Mr. Craig?
Well, I'm afraid I don't quite see its necessity. I served the intergalactic service well. My records prove it.
It's enough impertinence, Mr. Craig. Answer the questions. You are a Terran?
Yes.
Where are your loyalties?
I don't understand.
Your first loyalties are to Intergalactic, is that right?
Is there a distinction?
Do you wish to be held in contempt of this board?
Of course not.
Then you will confine your responses to simple yes answers. Now, Mr. Craig, we shall begin again. Please try to show restraint of emotion. You are here to petition for an identity card of provisional code 2 type. You maintain that you've never been on Terra before. Indeed, you state that you've never had a political affiliation.
Yes.
What are your reactions to the latest acts of the Liberal Party?
I have none.
You do not condemn the Liberal Party?
Well,
Then you must favor it.
I don't know anything about it.
Now then, Mr. Craig. The Import Service report shows that you passed your test aboard your ship. You were enabled to accomplish this through night study.
Yes.
Yet you maintain in your application that you had considered the space service a career.
I changed my mind.
Oh, you changed your mind. I see. I see, too, that you have petitioned the board for a private means of conveyance. Why do you wish to own your own transportation vehicle?
To make it easier to get around, I report to my job and...
What job?
I passed the exam for the import service. I report today.
Where are you living, Mr. Craig?
At the Star Hotel.
Very well. You'll wait outside in the waiting room until you're called again.
I waited about 2 hours in the porcelainized waiting room of the Civil Control Board. Then I was called over to the clerk's desk at a small window. He stamped some cards for me.
Craig.
Here.
Here's your stuff. Class 1 provisional ident card. Sign it and fingerprint it. Don't lose it. If you do, you'll be picked up by the control agents.
I petitioned for a Class 2 card.
You'll get a Class 1. This entitles you to maintain an apartment in the lower level of the Beverly Project. Here's your clothing ration. You'll have to turn in that leather flight jacket.
What? No, wait a minute. I had this made on Chuan. Listen, I can remove the insignia.
That is not the point. Your clothing ration is defined by law. There are no exceptions. This is your food ration.
What's all this medical stuff on the card?
You are rationed fairly in accordance with your particular metabolism.
Oh, you're kidding.
I do not kid, Mr. Craig.
Well, what about a car? I asked to be allowed to buy a car.
I see. Your petition to be permitted to purchase a private means of transportation is hereby denied.
I walked out of the control board feeling like a man who has just come out of free fall into a hypergravity system. Instead of reporting to the import service for my initial job interview, I walked around the city. I don't know how long I walked, maybe an hour, maybe 2. After a while, I came to the outskirts of old Los Angeles. There was a big fence around it and the usual signs. Radioactivity. Beware. It was just a pile of rubble and twisted girders. I looked at it for a while and then turned around and headed for the intergalactic freight office.
So you figure you made a mistake.
Yeah, that's right. You don't hear much about Terra out there.
And you want me to sign you back into intergalactic?
Yes.
You got any character references?
No, not here on Earth, but I can post a good-sized bond if they'll release my ISS unit.
What's your rating?
I can handle anything, up to 15 G's acceleration on my old license.
You got a Tehran contract with import service, you said?
Haven't started work yet.
Look, kid. Mr. Craig, is it? How long you been on Earth?
2 days.
So you're a spaceman. Flight officer, ex-flight officer. You know how to navigate through 4-star zones and the asteroid belt thrown in. You got a license for 15 G's, could get 5 more with a check flight. You got enough brains to pass the import senior routers exam. But you ain't got enough sense to come in out of the rain. We get guys like you every day. You're hot, you're big, you're raring to go. But you ain't gone nowhere.
I'm listening.
I don't know how you got here, Craig. Maybe you did quit honorable, or maybe you went and burned up a colony someplace.
That would be in my records.
The point is, it don't make any difference. Nobody leaves Terra without a permit. Nobody gets a permit to go back to space once he hits this old apple.
Why not? They afraid somebody will tell what it's like?
Oh, son, you got things to learn. One is you don't go shooting off your mouth. Another is Terra's changed a lot since the radioactive wars. We're going places, doing things. Big places, big things. You've got to fit into that, kid. Move with it. Stick around. You still got your sea legs. You're going to like it here. You can make a quick $1 and spend it quick, too. But you'd better smarten up, or you'll finish scrubbing radioactive dust off girders.
That's the story, huh? The whole story?
That's it. Everything runs by a system. And, son, you can't buck the system.
Yeah. I don't suppose there's any place around here a guy could get a quick drink.
Oh, yeah, out at the end of Y Street, they got a little place you can buy Acadian tars. Plutos, they call it.
Thanks.
Yeah, get it out of your system, then settle down. That's my advice.
Thanks. So long.
Get me the control agent. He just left here. He's on his way to the Pluto Cafe.
Hey, waiter. Waiter, bring me another drink for the young lady. Wow. Now then. Where were we?
I don't know. In fact, I still don't know why you're buying me free drinks.
I told you I want somebody to talk to.
You a purist? Or maybe you don't like the brand of sensation tapes they're peddling these days.
You know, you don't have a bad face, really, underneath the makeup. I mean, it's a little crooked, but it ain't bad, really.
Thanks. Does me pretty good.
Well, what's your name?
Gloria?
Oh, sure. Sure, I remember. Gloria!
Maybe you had enough to drink.
No, not yet. You know, I look around, I see all these people with their faces all froze up like plastic. And I feel like I got to know somebody, or I go out of my mind. So what happens? Everybody is afraid. I mean, what happened? Whatever happened to freedom? What's the matter? Did I say something? What's everybody so quiet about all of a sudden?
Okay. Come with me.
Well, who are you?
Control board agent.
Hey, I wasn't with him. Honest, he just picked me up and bought me a drink and started shooting off his mouth. I wasn't with him.
Let's go, Mac.
Wait a minute, what for?
You'll find that out. Come on. On your feet.
Okay, Carl, keep your hands off. I'll go with you.
Everybody else, just mind your own business. You, girlie.
Yeah?
Let's see your ident card.
Here.
You live at this address?
Yeah?
Alone?
With my sister.
Maybe some night you could go to a movie or something. We could spend some time getting acquainted.
Yeah. Yeah, sometime.
Good, I'll call you.
Hey, I need my dent card back. I can't get rations without it.
I'll keep it. Bring it back myself.
Why don't you give the girl her card? No!
Well, maybe you mind your own business. Let's go. You walk just a little in front of me.
He was a big man, maybe 250 pounds, and he shuffled when he walked. He'd hit me right across the right shoulder with a sort of rubber truncheon. Now it began to ache. We're walking along a sort of back street. Everywhere in the universe there were such streets. Streets where you could find freedom in anonymity, a compromise between lawlessness and law. They are permitted by the authorities because it is necessary to have a place for those who are not permitted elsewhere.
Okay, step into the doorway. Hurry up, you fool. We're being followed.
Well, we're followed by whom?
Don't ask questions. Who's you told?
Don't I have any rights?
You got the right to get hit over the head unless you do what you're told. Now, quick. Hey, come in. In here. Hurry.
Hey, who are they shooting at, you or me?
Both of us. Down these steps.
Stop! Stop or we'll fire!
Through this door. Now, duck behind that pillar. Don't make a sound.
You see them? 9 trays! Come on, they probably slipped out.
Walk through the tunnel behind you. One false move and you're finished. Go on.
From the direction of the tunnel, I guessed it was part of an old sewage system that led toward the ruined city. I don't know how long we walked, maybe an hour. Finally, we came to a small wooden door.
Stop here. Okay, let's have it.
What? Have what?
The tube.
I don't know what you mean.
Our detectives picked it up on you the minute you got off the plane. You're carrying a radioactive message tube with a periodic emission signal. I'll need to have it before we can go any further.
You mean the tube that old Charlie gave me?
Old Charlie?
Yes, Charlie Brockman. The old spaceman who was in the hospital with me.
Where is it?
I think it's in my pocket. I never even bothered to open it.
Do it now.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Open it.
It's empty.
That's right. The message is in the tube itself. We identify our people by the radioactive pattern.
Our people?
You'll see.
Come in. Make it fast.
This the one? This is the one. She's been drugged. He's had PON. A massive dose at the Pluto.
Good. Mr. Craig, my name's Cocteau. This is Mr. Brannigan. You're probably quite bewildered about all this. Let me clarify the situation. You're now in the headquarters of the Freedomites, underneath the radioactive part of old Los Angeles. Mr. Brannigan is not a control agent. He's one of our men. We've been watching you ever since we detected the message tube as your ship was approaching Earth.
Now, wait a minute. You guys are Freedomites?
That's right.
You're pretty illegal, aren't you?
Let's say our lives aren't worth a snap of your fingers if we're caught.
All right, who are you? Where are you from?
Most of us are from the same place you're from, outer space. Many of us had the same history you have. We shipped into Earth and became disillusioned and went to the intergalactic freight office to apply for a job. The man at the office, the man who made the speech about coming in out of the rain, is one of our agents.
Aren't you taking a chance telling me all this?
Not at all. At the Pluto, you were given a massive dose of PON. You won't remember anything that happened to you after the drug hits you in an hour or so. It works like a shock. Everything will be repressed into the unconscious.
Oh, I see. Very neat.
It will exist in your unconscious, however. Somewhere, because you're the kind of man you are, because living in space has taught you the blessing of feeling free, you'll be able to draw upon your unconscious knowledge when you need to.
And when will that be, Mr. Cocteau?
That depends on whether you decide to join us or not.
Join you in what? I haven't the faintest idea of what you're trying to do. For all I know, you're a bunch of traitors. You know, I've heard this comes the revolution stuff before.
My friend, you're woefully ignorant of our aims, as is to be expected. We anticipate no revolution. We print no leaflets, publish no newspaper, and we have no world plan for conquest. The kind of totalitarian mind which subscribes to tight economic systems like the ancient Marxism of the communists is abhorrent to us. We're interested in only one thing, the preservation of the idea of freedom. Our fear is that men will forget what it's like to feel free.
Well, how do you expect to accomplish this?
Our concepts are being kept alive in only one place in the universe today.
Outer space?
Exactly. On the frontiers of the universe, where freedom is a condition of life and growth.
Suppose I join you. How can I help?
You're an experienced pilot. We have enough connections to do some plastic surgery on your face and get you a position piloting a spaceship again. You'll remember nothing of your mission, but you will remember that you have been back to Earth, what it was like. You'll be able, carefully, of course, to tell people, to help keep the idea of freedom alive. Think it over carefully. You have 20 minutes before the drug takes effect.
I don't need 20 minutes. I'll do it.
Good. In exactly 48 hours, you'll wake up in your hotel bed with a new face, the identity card of a man named Harold Janus. You'll not remember how you got them or why, but you'll know what to do with his identity. He is, or was, master navigator on the Earth-Mars run. Good luck, Mr. Craig.
I woke up in the hotel bed, feeling like a man who has hung one on but good. I looked into the mirror and I saw the face of another man. I looked in my wallet and discovered that I was Harold Janus, navigator for Intergalactic, holder of a license for 15 Gs. I wondered where it came from, how I got it, but I asked no questions. This license, this ident card, meant freedom. I walked out of the hotel feeling steady for the first time. I'd gotten my sea legs at last.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine.
which this month features The Venus Trap by Evelyn E. Smith. One thing man never planned to take along into space with him was the eternal triangle, especially a true blue triangle like this one. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Sea Legs, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Frank Petrocchi and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were William Redfield, James Stevens, Stan Early, Charles Penman, James Dukas, Richard Hamilton, Jack Orison, Jack Grimes, Craig McDonald, Ralph Bell, Kermit Murdoch, and Frederica Chandler. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Hear Politics and Primaries, Dateline, Ohio, and Indiana, tonight on NBC Radio.
For the first time since Jerry Hall, Mrs. Gregory, and Tex Bradford have been prisoners on their captive yacht at the magic island of Euclidia, they have a chance to escape. G-47, their mad scientific captor, has allowed them to remain aboard their yacht. With the aid of the opaque cloth made on the island, our friends have insulated a cabin on the yacht and may talk in safety. Their radio is useless for transmission, but through code messages received from the operator on the other Gregory boat, help may soon be near. Captain Bradford is about to explain the plan to Jerry as Joan and her mother come into the cabin.
Now, hurry and get into this thing, Pat. You too, Joan. Well, Pat, thanks to you and your determination to take the bosun and bosun's mate with us on every cruise, we're about to get a message to Johnson.
How long will it take Johnson to get within range?
It all depends on what time he sails from San Pedro. We'll keep our receiver open, and he'll let us know when he's within striking distance.
And how much we'll all owe to the little bosun and his mate. I'm certainly glad now we've always carried them and trained them.
Hey, for the love of Pete, will you two quit talking and tell somebody else what it's all about?
Yes, Mother. You and the captain talk so fast. Jerry and I do not know what it is all about.
I'm sorry, Joan. I was just going to explain it to Jerry when you and your mother came back to the cabin.
You see, Joan, dear, we haven't had a chance to show you over the whole boat as yet, and we forgot you hadn't seen the pigeons.
Well, of all the nuts, I'm the worst. I watched those pigeons all the way down here from Los Angeles and never thought to ask a question about them.
But what can pigeons have to do with getting a message to your friend Johnson?
They're not just pigeons. They're homing pigeons. Gosh, and I never even thought of it.
Well, don't feel too badly, Jerry. You're quick enough to see the significance in most things.
Say, Joan.
Yes, Captain Bradford?
Didn't you ever hear them talk about homing pigeons here on Euclidia?
I have never heard a word about them. So it must be that the scientists do not talk much about them, for they are so sure no one can escape from the island that they discuss most things before all of us.
I hope you're right, and it seems possible that you are. This infernal Euclidia is so far ahead of the world in scientific development, they must have forgotten the old standbys, or scorn to use them.
G-47 always says that all things scientific are superior to the finest things in nature.
That belief is the first weakness in the reasoning of G-47 that I have found.
I guess he figures that homing pigeons are old-fashioned.
That may be, but they're the only possible method of getting a message through that magnetized fog and all the other electrochemical devices this island is protected with.
Do these pigeons really carry messages?
You bet they do. And they fly fast, too.
It is wonderful to learn that. We have pigeons on Euclidia also, but they are used only for pigeon pie. We have none that can talk. Only our parrots can talk, and they are not trained to carry messages.
Our pigeons can't talk either, my dear.
Then how do they carry messages?
Oh, Joan.
Now you are laughing at me.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. We shouldn't do that. You see, these pigeons can't talk. We write a message on a piece of thin, strong paper, then tie it to their leg with a fine wire band and turn them loose. They're taught to return to one place, or one kind of a place, and someone is waiting there to get the message.
Well, if we're going to do anything with them, we'd better get busy and send one off because if old G-47 finds us looking too happy, he'll know we've got some plan, and then he'll make kindling wood out of this yacht to find out what it is.
Nevertheless, we'll have to be patient for several hours, maybe a day or two.
Why can't we let the pigeon go now, right away?
We've got to wait till Johnson gets the other boat within the range these birds can cover. We're about 4,000 miles from Los Angeles, on this island, and the longest recorded flight over water was only a little over 1,000. And that's about the limit so far as I know.
Well, if Johnson started from here the same time he got my first message that we were in danger, before old G-47 got me with that ray gun and made me change the message, Johnson's boat ought to be 1,000 miles out of San Pedro by now.
How fast does this ship, the ship that Mr. Johnson is in, how fast will it travel?
He'll be using our diesel-motored cruiser, and although it's nearly a 100-foot boat, it's built on hydroplane specifications, and Johnson runs as if it had wings. Though he ought to average from 50 to 55 knots for the run.
Golly whiskers. Who ever heard of a big boat going 55 knots an hour for 4,000 miles?
We have a number of things that the world in general never heard of, son. That boat will do all of that. But the worry is that heavily loaded with all my scientific equipment on board, it will burn a lot of fuel.
And how will the fuel be replenished, Captain?
From various ships Johnson will contact along the run. Ships flying Mrs. Gregory's merchant pennant, which will then put out from several ports to meet him.
Boy, you're sure some mysterious people, all right. But just so as it comes out okay, I guess I can wait for the answers till you get ready to give them to me.
You are an intelligent boy, Jerry.
I know it.
Now, you two keep still. We've got to figure just when to get that pigeon off to Johnson. There are many things to be planned and done before this flight can start. One thing, Tex, we must remember that magnetic fog and use string rather than wire on the leg band.
Tex, I know what to do. A thread from this cloth of theirs.
You do not have to worry about that all the time. And sometimes the fog is not magnetized.
Are you sure about that, Joan?
That would make it easier, wouldn't it, Tex?
That would make it almost simple.
But how can you tell that the fog is not magnetized all the time?
I have heard the scientists talking about it. They magnetize the fog only when danger is near, and they have instruments which warn them of a boat or airplane 100 miles away. G-47 says the constant utilization of current in the magnetism of the fog ring is too heavy a drain on the electric supply, which is difficult to replenish quickly.
Well, that sounds reasonable. With all the machines they have running, all electrically driven, I imagine, they should conserve their power as much as possible. But how can you tell when the fog is magnetized and when it is not?
It is magnetized only when the danger signal shows.
Where is this danger signal, Gag?
There is a red light in the center of the island by night and a red signal by day.
Then if we make sure the red light is not displayed, we may safely send the pigeon.
I think it will be quite safe, Mother.
It looks as if we're getting somewhere at last.
But suppose G-47 discovers these pigeons before we can use them.
I got it. It's dark now. I'll go out and get the pigeons and bring them in here. Then he can't see them through this cloth.
I will go with you, Jerry.
Now, hold it, you kids. We'd better not go near the pigeons when we want them.
But, Tex, what if someone on the island notices them before we want them?
Did you see the pigeons when you looked in that machine in their headquarters, Jerry?
Sure. I saw everything on the yacht. The pigeons were playing.
Yeah, I thought so. And we don't dare to move them. Chances are they haven't attracted any attention. Maybe they won't. But you can bet someone is watching this boat every minute. And if anything was moved and brought in here where they couldn't see it, they'd be down for a look-see in a second.
If G-47 knows all about the things these pigeons can do, and he must know it, I cannot understand how he let you keep them at all. He would know they could fly out with messages.
That worries me, too. Do you suppose they're just waiting to trap us when we use the pigeons?
They're smart enough to be at that. G-47 might figure I'd try to send a pigeon out with a formula.
Joan knows all these guys and how crazy they are. What do you think about it?
It is obvious that G-47 knows about the pigeons. And he would know that they were, what you called them?
Homing pigeons.
Yes, homing pigeons. But he is so scornful of nature and so secure in his own inventions that he might be careless about it.
That's possible, of course. Every man will make a mistake sometime, and this may be the one G-47 will make.
Tex, how close has Johnson got to be to us before there's a good chance of these birds getting to his boat?
We'll let him get as close as possible, though these are well-trained birds, well cared for, and in the best of condition. They should make 500 miles straight as an arrow and right on schedule, providing weather conditions and other influences were favorable, of course.
How far away will these automatic alarms on the island detect a foreign object?
A large boat with motors can be located 200 miles away, an airplane 10,000 feet in the air, and even a rowboat or a swimmer 20 to 25 miles.
And these alarms are strictly automatic, operating and registering disturbances all the time?
At all times. And everything which comes within range of the alarms leaves a record on a recording device.
Gosh, this is sure a tough one.
If we get out of this one, we'll have something to tell the folks back home. And I think we'll get out. Sometime.
Well, how will we know when Johnson is near enough to turn loose one of the birds?
He'll keep on our radio beam, and we have a code that is simple but effective. So we'll be advised of his position at all times.
I hope these men don't get wise to the fact that receiving Johnson's apparently hopeless message is of value to us. It would be easy enough for them to block Johnson's carrier wave.
Captain Bradford, do not think me impertinent. You are a wise man, and I am only a young girl. But I would like to offer a little advice.
Your offer is gladly accepted. Advice is what we need most of.
I should figure, in your place, that G47 knows what every message you receive means to you. And the only reason he is letting you receive them is that he believes he can trap you into something which may give him access to your formula.
Oh, gee whiz, Joan. You're too scared of that old guy.
Joan has lived here all her life, Jerry. 14 of her 15 years. And she's seen many things done on this island that we couldn't even imagine.
Well, just the same, everybody's got to make a mistake. And it's old G47's turn now.
I think you may be right, Jerry, but we should be very careful.
Now, here's another place where you can be a lot of help to us, Joan. Suppose we do get a pigeon free. Get one outside the fog wall and start it north for Johnson's boat. What if they to run it down with or catch it?
The large ray guns would do it, but they are not too accurate at any great distance.
How much is a great distance to these guys?
Something less than 50 miles, I think.
That seems a long way to us, my dear.
Too far. But suppose the pigeon got away for, say, an hour and a half to 2 hours before they discovered it. Then what? These birds do 40 miles an hour.
The floor of the island would open up, and a fleet of tiny airplanes shoot out. They will fly over 500 miles an hour and stay in the air for 18 hours.
And they'd soon fly the birds down.
Our only hope is to get a pigeon out soon after dark and hope they don't discover it till daylight.
Are you sure the pigeon can find the other boat?
Yeah. Suppose he sees something else to land on. What then?
Those pigeons have been trained between these two boats and never failed. They've covered distances up to 500 miles, and I think they could do 1,000 if they had to.
And Johnson has a pair on his boat, which are trained to come to this boat. And only exhaustion would make them land on anything else.
That's right, and that's something else to worry about.
How come?
Well, if Johnson should send a pigeon before we do, the pigeon thing is exposed.
Yes, but
quiet, here's Johnson.
J24Y. J12 calling Bradford on J24Y. Can you hear me, J24Y? No signal from you. Your beam may be broken by a storm. I am using land relay. Storm directly on Los Angeles beam to last position you gave me. Stand by for location of storm center. Try to reach me through land relay.
Quiet now. When he gives us a location of the storm center, that will be his own position. He's telling us in code how near his boat is to us.
Advise you try directional beam to coast of Chile. Ask them relay to me. Storm center. Can you hear me? Storm center is...
48 hours on the Magic Island. 48 hours in this strange scientific colony called Euclidia. The cabins of the Gregory yacht are now completely lined with the sound and light-proof cloth of the island. The Gregory party can talk in privacy, as the delicate recording instruments of the scientists cannot penetrate the opaque cloth of their own manufacture. G47, mad genius of the island, has allowed Mrs. Gregory, her daughter, and friends to remain aboard their yacht, tied to the island. Captain Bradford, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are grouped in the radio cabin of the yacht. It is midnight, their third midnight at the island.
Well, what do you think of your new suit, Jerry?
Oh, it's all right, I guess, but Mrs. Gregory isn't so hot as a tailor.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but it will do for our purpose.
You look quite nice in a suit of Euclidean kelp cloth, I think, Jerry.
There you are, Jerry. Joan likes it, so you're all right.
Oh, I don't care much how it looks, just so as it does the trick.
There isn't any other way to get the pigeon into the cabin here without someone on Euclidia noticing it.
Are you so sure, Captain Bradford, that this pigeon will fly to the other boat and find it?
I never knew one of these birds to fail yet.
I wish we'd hear from Johnson again. How close do you figure him to be now, Tex?
He's not more than 700 or 800 miles, and likely making about 40 knots now. He'll be slowing up as he gets nearer to try and discover what's wrong with us before he runs into needless danger himself.
He'd never dream the sort of place we're prisoners on. And with G47 blocking our radio beam, we haven't a thing but the homing pigeons to warn him with.
What message will you send with the pigeon, Captain?
I'll have to send instructions about my formula. It is the only thing to attack the island with.
But suppose the pigeon goes to the wrong boat or makes to land someplace. Then your formula will be in someone else's hands.
No matter who gets what I send, Any country in the world would come to our aid here. Remember that our escape will probably mean the only chance there is of saving the entire world from scientific conquest by these madmen.
Joan, dear, what do you think their attitude would be if they should take over the world? Are they criminals or merely power mad?
I think they are mad for power. Selfish ambition to rule over and terrorize people. They speak of people in your world as dumb animals, only fit to do the bidding of the Euclideans.
Then I'm afraid the world would be just a gigantic laboratory for them to experiment with.
I think that, Mother. And I know they plan to put machines at work in place of human brains, to experiment on people as they do now on animals, and rule the world by science.
Nice people to meet on a dark night. Golly, but we've got a job ahead of us. If we can only get off this crazy island and destroy it, we can really save the world.
This is war, Jerry, and a war that means freedom for the civilized people of the world. We've got to win. Our lives mean very little at a time like this.
Our lives will mean plenty to the rest of the world if we can just keep alive long enough to get this message through to Johnson.
Ready for me to bring the pigeon in now?
Might as well, Jerry. Now look, try to act natural standing in front of the coat, and look all around carefully. When you are sure no one is looking, slip the pigeon inside your suit and come back in here.
Wait, Jerry. Be sure the warning light in the center of the island is not burning. That will mean the electrical eyes on the island are not working. The fog will not be magnetized, and only the long beam signals will be sweeping the ocean outside the fog ring.
You're a great help, my dear. You remember everything.
We on Euclidia are well trained in observation.
Okay, Jerry, go to it. Watch your step and go slowly and naturally, both going and coming back.
Right. I'll take my time.
Now, Joan, you know more about this island than we do. What do you think Jerry's chances are to get that pigeon and return here without being seen?
He will undoubtedly be seen, but there is a possibility that no one will notice him taking the pigeon from its usual place and slipping it under his coat.
And you are sure this cloth will keep the islanders from seeing he's carrying anything unusual under his coat?
If he is not stopped and searched because he's wearing the special cloth suit, no one will see through it.
Oh, Tex, we should have thought of that. Of course there'll be a guard on the yacht, and he'll stop Jerry and question him about that suit.
Got to chance it.
But G47 promised to outfit us completely in the cloth tomorrow. Then we could have done this without arousing any suspicion.
You are right, Mother. It would have been much wiser to wait until tomorrow night to try and get the pigeon from the stern of the yacht.
I know it would from a detection angle, but we can't afford waiting till tomorrow night.
Why not, Tex? Johnson will have the other boat much nearer then, and the pigeons would reach it easily and quickly.
Exactly, and Johnson would also be reached easily and quickly by the devices they have here on this mad island.
That is also true, Captain. Your other boat will be in danger of being reported on these delicate instruments of G47s when it is within 200 miles.
That was stupid of me, wasn't it, Tex?
No, this is enough to mix anyone up. We'll all think together.
Naturally, we must get word to Johnson while he's still out of range of their detectives. But, Joan, you said the Euclideans watched our yacht all the way from the coast of California to this island. 4,000 miles. How then is Johnson safe to within 200 miles?
They were watching for you to sail. When they use the universal prism reflectors with full power on a narrow focus, they have a range of 8,000 miles. But the object must be in daylight, and the apparatus is strictly directional.
Good. Then at night, and Johnson will be running down the same time zone we lie in, at night all they use is a general wide-range detector. And this is no good beyond 200 miles?
That is right, Captain.
Then the quicker we get the pigeon off to Johnson, the better. As our plans might go for nothing, even if the bird made the boat, but Johnson was caught.
Yes, Mother. G47 would send out a submarine or stratoplane and destroy him before daylight.
Have you the message all written out, Tex?
This tiny roll of paper contains all the information Johnson needs. That is, all he will need for the present. If this gets through, it's a matter of routine to finish the job.
This pigeon must get through, Tex. I feel that we'd never be given a second chance. It's now or never.
I got him all right, and not a soul was anywhere near the yacht.
But that yellow haze, how could you see through it?
They are not using the sub-ultraviolet fog tonight. It is too difficult to generate and uses up too much of the supply of gas. They only use it in time of danger.
Or when they want to impress someone with their tricks, as they did when we landed. All right, we'd better lose no time now. Handle the pigeon carefully, kid.
Right.
They're mighty sensitive about how they're handled.
Oh, what a nice little bird. It doesn't seem possible that it could fly as fast and as far as you say.
Homing pigeons are very wonderful, my dear. and they seldom fail.
Now hold him gently but firmly, Jerry, while I tie this roll of paper on his leg. I'm using Euclidean cloth thread, so there's no danger of any magnetic force holding this little fellow back.
How do I let him go?
Better just walk around the deck again. Take a turn all the way around. Then when you stroll slowly up near the stern on the starboard side, just open your coat and let it out. Then keep on walking. Take another turn of the boat if it seems natural, and don't hurry back in here.
Will that message not blow off in the wind?
Not the way Tex is tying it on. He's tied too many of them.
No, sir. This note will stay with the Pigeon till Johnson takes it off.
Are you sure the Pigeon can find the other boat in the dark?
They've been trained as much in night flying as in day.
They'll do it easily enough, but this one won't have to. It ought to be daylight when he reaches the boat.
But how will Mr. Johnson catch it without hurting it?
There's a coat on Johnson's boat to which this bird has been trained to fly. The door will be open, and the bird goes in. That's all there is to it.
I wish we knew exactly where Johnson was. It would be a shame to start the poor little cruiser off with its goal out of reach.
No danger of that if Johnson's last position was correct, and he keeps coming at 40 knots or better.
There he is, Jerry. Handle him gently. Do just as I told you. And if you should meet anyone, you're just going for a walk. Someone is likely patrolling the pier along the yacht rail.
Be careful, Jerry.
I will. Don't worry so much.
Better button up your coat. It's loose enough so it won't crush the bird. And let your arms swing naturally as you walk around the deck. Good luck, kid.
Well, here I go again. Now, don't worry about anything.
Oh, Tex.
Don't be nervous, Pat. It's out of our hands now.
Jerry will do it right, Mother. He's a very clever boy.
I know that, dear, but it's such a strain. We've been tied up to this ghastly island just over 48 hours now. And it seems like a lifetime.
No good to worry about it, Pat. You and Joan better go to your own cabin and get some rest as soon as Jerry gets the Pigeon started.
How long will it be before we get an answer?
Well, that all depends on...
J24Y. J12C calling J24Y.
Hold it. There's Johnson now. At least they haven't stopped the incoming beams.
J12 to J24Y. Hello, J24. J12C reporting. No signal from you. Land stations report they cannot raise you. Taking chance of this getting through to you. Storm warning. Storm center near your last reported position. May be reason you cannot get signal to me. Serious storm is reported moving directly north of you. Storm moving south at terrific speed. Present storm center, 17 degrees south. If you are getting my signal, advise you run out of storm course. Land stations report all radio channels near you blocked by some terrific electrical disturbance. If you can hear me, run for it. Storm center, 17 degrees south. Confirm if you can hear me. That is all. Johnson on J12C.
Oh, Tex, he's coming fast, isn't he?
I'll say he is. 17 degrees south, eh? And we're only 29.
Then he's just 12 degrees north of us.
I'm so excited I can't figure it out in my head. You got a pencil, Tex?
Yeah, and I'm using it for that same little thing.
I've got it figured, Mother.
You have?
You mentally converted degrees into miles that fast?
Of course, that is simple. Oh, I did not use the fractions, but there are approximately 69 statute or land miles to a degree at this latitude.
Joan, you know the conversion tables by memory?
You certainly got an education on this island. There isn't one person in 100 who could figure that in their head, even if they knew the conversion tables.
12 degrees at 69 miles to a degree is 828 miles.
Then if Johnson is making 40 knots an hour or more...
He's making plenty more. He said storm traveling south at terrific speed. And terrific speed with Johnson means all the boat will do. And the Pigeon will make 40 going to meet him if the wind is favorable.
Then they should meet in less than 5 hours.
Right you are. Johnson will have that message at daylight.
But suppose G47 has figured out Johnson's code. What if he knows that every time Johnson reported the storm center, he was giving his own position?
He's sure to know it. For one thing, his own radio beam will tell him there is no storm. He knows Johnson's coming, and he wants him to keep on coming, so he can capture that boat also. As he probably knows, most of our equipment is on it.
But if Johnson is captured, we can do nothing.
Don't worry, dear. That Pigeon will get to Johnson's boat 300 or 400 miles from here. And Johnson will turn and run out of the danger the minute he reads the message.
Oh, boy. Everything's swell. Not a soul was on our side of the island, and the Pigeon took off into the north side of the fog like a bullet after he'd fluttered around a minute and got his bearings.
Oh, Mother, the Pigeon really got away.
I'll say he got away.
And it won't be long till we all get away.
step into the incredible, amazing future as we go exploring tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
Last night, as I was going up the stair, I met a little man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. My gosh, I wish he'd go away. I think it was Gillette Burgess who penned those immortal lines. How do you get rid of a little man who isn't there in the first place? Well, Peter Manson was a physicist, a scientist. And his trouble started with a little man who wasn't there. Submatrix X integrated to pi over 2 plus confound. May I come in, Mr. Manson? Why, thank you. Are you alone? Yes. Well, then she hasn't arrived yet. I wasn't expecting anybody. Oh, I am, but if she isn't here yet, I'll have some time to explain. Who is it? One thing at a time, sir. Now, first, have you ever considered the problem of time travel? Time travel? Why, that's impossible. Oh, now don't say impossible because you invented it. I've done nothing of the sort. History says you did. What history? History says that you invented time travel machinery and applied for a United States patent on June 16, 1964. What history? That's 6 years from now. Ah, but not from my point of view. You see, I've used one of your own time machines to come back from your future, 50 years through my past to this date, your present. Do you understand? You claim you have traveled 50 years through time? I am here. That's proof. I don't believe a word of it. Well, look 'em over. This is your own personal notebook, 50 years later than it is now. Actually, that's the same one that's on your desk right now. Now, this is a copy of your patent. Now, these documents say I'm right. I say so. You see, in my day, you are the wealthy and famous Peter Manson. Well, do you want my autograph? You may be right, but I'm not wealthy yet. Oh, I'm not after anything. I'm here to help you. I don't need any help. Do you know the first thing about your future? Of course not. Well, I do. I know just about everything that you're going to do in the next 50 years. Prove it. What am I going to do next? You are about to be introduced to the woman who will become your wife. I already know her. We're engaged. Oh, you mean Laura Phillips? Well, no doubt she's a nice enough girl, but she's not for you. You'll break that engagement shortly. I'll do no such thing. History says you did. Not will do. Did. But you... Yes. Yes, Laura. No, Laura, not... But, Laura... Come on, tell her now and get it over with. You shut up. No, Laura, I didn't mean you. No. No, Laura, she's not here. She hung up. Oh, wouldn't listen to you, huh? And that's your fiancée. She wouldn't do that if Oh, Miss Carter, now we've been expecting you. Please come in.
All right, but just for a minute. No, Harry, you wait by the door, but stay close.
Now, Miss Amelia Carter, may I present... Get that dame out of here.
Dame?
Please, now, this is hardly a way to start a lifetime.
Lifetime?
Yes, history says so. 50 years and still going when I left. Now, stop this hostility. You might as well save time, too, now. Now, start off with the first names. Amelia, this is Peter. Peter, be nice to Amelia. You really should be gracious, generous, anxious to create a good first impression. Don't tell me how to behave. Don't you blow a fuse, Grandpa. Grandpa! I am Peter Emil Manson III, your grandson. And note that the middle name is the masculine form of Amelia, your wife, my grandmother.
Grandmother?
Yes, indeed. Your son is my father.
But I'm not married yet.
Oh, but you will be. Now, Grandpa, you sit here. Cut this grandpa stuff right now. Well, I'm sorry, but I've been taught that it's impolite to call my grandparents by their given names. Of course, you don't look much like the old duffer that I know as Grandpa. Oh, now, Grandpa, calm down and you start making like romance. You know, you're not even engaged to Grandma yet.
Don't call me Grandma.
Oh, pardon me, it is impertinent, but you are quite a dish. Now that I've seen you in your youth, I can understand why Grandpa threw over this Laura Phillips girl. I can hardly believe that you'll become that sweet little old lady.
Mr. Manson, what's he talking about?
He's a time traveler from the future who says he can prove that we met, got married, and...
Now, don't go any further.
I'm afraid he's right. He says it's history, and we can't change history, can we?
But I hardly know you.
Well, if you'd known each other, I wouldn't have to introduce you, would I?
Maybe somebody'd better explain this to me.
Ah, fine. Now we're off to a start. Highball, Grandmother?
Yeah, I think I need one.
Now a little more romantic setting. Soft lights now. And now I'll leave you two to canoodle a bit. I've other things.
But Harry!
I'll take care of Harry. That'll be Laura. Run high. Do something.
Oh, relax,
Grandpa. I'll take care of everything. Of course, Peter Manson wasn't the only one having trouble with the little man who wasn't there. No, the future cannot be handled logically. It's logically impossible because it doesn't exist yet. And if it doesn't exist, then obviously it isn't logical. But it's going to exist, so, well, you see what I mean. Logic is just hopeless.
I should ought to clobber you.
Oh, now be reasonable, Harry. It wouldn't prove anything.
But Amelia's my girl.
Get over it, Harry. They're probably arranging their engagement right now.
You meddler.
I am not a meddler, Laura. I'm just an instrument of fate.
Fate? Poor Peter thrown to that blonde lion.
Oh, you stop calling my girl names, you hear?
You're acting like a pair of spoiled children. Now stop it. I regret that you've lost your loves, but really no one ever actually died of unrequited love.
Mine wasn't unrequited.
Well, it might as well be once they're happily married.
Happily married?
Well, you wouldn't want them unhappy, would you?
No, I'd like a little happiness myself.
Well, so would we all. But stop and think. Now, if the number of human lives depended upon your giving up a love affair, would you go on selfishly and marry the man anyway?
Well, that's hardly fair.
Well, then I'll put it up to Harry. Harry, if your own life depended upon preventing a wrong marriage, would you stand by and let them go ahead?
Make your own point. You're the meddler.
All right. My life depends upon it. My father's life depends upon it. Unless Peter Manson and Amelia Carter marry, neither my father nor I can be born. Now, knowing this, I used my grandfather's time machine, came back to give a formal introduction. Now, you can't blame me for wanting to live, so I came back and I fixed it up.
Yes, you're a great little fixer-upper.
Maybe we should ought to fix you up and then go on as we please about it.
You don't know much about time and history, do you?
No, but I could make up a...
You could not. You could not change a thing.
Why not?
If your father and mother had never met, could you have been born?
Oh, don't be utterly ridiculous.
Now, don't ever be scornful of stating a simple fact. I exist, therefore I am. Now, say it as you please. To you, Peter and Amelia will marry. To me, Peter and Amelia married 50 years ago. Now, the sensible thing to do is to accept the fact, wipe it off the slate, pick up the pieces, and go on from there.
Such as?
Well, now, you're both very attractive people. You have a common bond of memory.
Ain't my type.
Well, I've looked at better myself.
Oh, Gad, this is a primitive era. Tell folks what's best for them, and they want to... What is the term, Harry?
Clobber you.
Yes, that's right. Clobber me.
That's the best idea I've heard all night.
No, not here. Outside, where I can stop being a lady. Then I'll help you.
Well, you can beat me up, but you can't change something that's already happened. Now, can you?
Look, I've taken all I can. I'm going home.
Can I?
That is a fine practical arrangement. Find sympathy in one another. It's the better thing to do. And maybe you'll find happiness with one another, too.
Can't we get out of this, Smith?
Well, if I cut my throat, I can't invent the time machine, and then he couldn't come back and mess up our lives by forcing me to marry you.
Ah, you'd rather commit suicide than marry me.
Oh, now, Amelia, stop it. That's not so.
Oh, so you'd rather marry me than commit suicide.
Stop the bawling and let me think.
Peter, you think he'd go away from me to look like everything was running smooth?
What do you mean?
Well, suppose we stopped squabbling and complaining and made up to one another so he'd think we were happy and convinced that he's right. Maybe he'd be satisfied and go back where he came from. Then we could do as we please.
Won't work.
Why not?
That character is our grandson, Amelia. Already he knows what we're going to do.
Well, aren't you even willing to try?
I'll try, but it's futile. What did you have in mind?
Well, I just know he's coming back tonight. We could make it look as if we'd been getting acquainted.
Well, what have we been doing for the past couple of hours? Playing tiddly... Hey, let go, my God.
Oh, just looking me up a little. If we were really getting acquainted, we'd not look as if we'd been sitting with folded hands. Hey, stop that!
Well, if you really loved me, you wouldn't mind my mussing up your hairdo then.
All right. There. Now it looks like we've been wrestling. Where's my bag?
What for?
Lipstick. You should have a few smears.
Well, with you looking like a magazine cover, lipstick is a two-way smear, right?
Oh, yeah. I suppose so.
You sound as though Harry was the only man you ever kissed.
If we ever get around to it, Peter Manson, you'll be the only man that's ever been kissed just because history said he had to be. So there. If I got it.
All right. Once for history.
Let's see you now.
You need more of the spread.
You need a touch right there. Oh, still in it?
There's one thing history didn't mention.
What, Peter?
History didn't say this could be fun.
Peter. It'd be funny, wouldn't it?
What could be funny?
This trick worked.
And then?
You and me found out after he'd gone that we really did like it.
Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't it?
Peter?
Yes?
Open up the door.
Yeah, so let him wait. Now remember to look flustered.
And try to watch your face, too.
Well, I see everything's progressing fine.
All right, now, go away.
Oh, I'm not going to stay. I just wanted to see how things were getting along. I know when I'm not wanted.
Then why did you come here in the first place?
Well, you think you hate me for my interference, but you wait and remember. In 50 years, the pair of you will be sending me off in my time machine to do this job of fixing up. And you, Grandma...
Stop calling me Grandma!
Still my Grandma, and you'll tell me that you and Grandpa actually wasted your first kisses trying to fool me into leaving. So now I'll trot along, but I'll be back tomorrow. And don't you keep her out too late, Grandpa.
What'd you do with Harry?
Oh, I fixed that up fine. Harry volunteered to escort Grandpa's former girlfriend to her home.
Harry and Laura?
Laura with Harry?
Peter?
Yes, Amelia.
To heck with history. Kiss me once.
Oh, for goodness sake, it's 3 o'clock.
I know what time it is.
But
What I want to know is what you're doing here.
I'm trying to think.
Yes, you look as if you've got it all settled.
Oh, what can I do?
You might wash that blonde hussy's magenta lipstick off your silly face.
Now, Laura, I can explain.
I'm listening. Convince me that you got all smeared up without him joining.
Come on, convince me.
You went home with Harry to Beef Trust, didn't you?
Well, I didn't see anyone around making me another offer.
But I will.
I know. Working like a little beaver making history come out right.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Bang my head against brick walls, tilt at windmills? Confound it, am I the only one around here with sense enough to know when I'm licked?
Well, you might not be so completely licked if Amelia Carter were as ugly as a mud fence.
Well, it does make my defeat less difficult to bear.
Well, make it complete, then. Have this expanded to fit her pudgy little hand.
My ring. But, Laura...
Goodbye, Peter.
Wait, don't go.
What's to stay for? To be a maid of honor?
If you came to quarrel with me, you yourself are doing everything to prove Junior's point. If he were here, he'd be cheering you into hating me and using my telephone for calling Harry to take you home.
Look, I didn't come here to fight with you, Peter. I came here to fight for you. But you're not fighting.
Junior knows all the moves. No matter what I try, everything turns out his way.
It's like your experimental smooching session.
Yeah, that too. He was amused.
I'm not. May have started as a deliberate frame-up, but it certainly ended up ginger peachy for his little old program.
I tell you, he knows every move. He came back here just to tell Amelia and me that you had gone home with Harry.
And 50 years from now, you and Amelia will dodder over to his time machine and kiss your brat of a grandson goodbye as he goes off to make the introduction. That's the program, isn't it?
Well, what can we do?
Peter, you say everything's fixed and solid. It can't be changed.
Well, that's the way it is.
But let's just suppose that you could quietly unfix Junior's little apple cart.
Well, then we'd go on as if he never arrived.
Well, couldn't you?
I can't prevent what's already happened. He exists. He is. He's here in the flesh.
No. I suppose you can't change that, can you?
No.
Well, then, goodbye, Peter.
Wait a minute, Laura. What if Junior were a different kind of guy?
What do you mean?
Look, Laura, he's the grandson of Amelia and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't marry Amelia, he doesn't get born. He can't exist unless we follow every move right down to the last letter of the historic record he talks about, right?
Yes, but...
Let's assume that the future is not a firm and solid hunk of recorded history.
Well, everyone but you and Junior have been saying that all along, but you keep pointing at Junior's history book and saying no.
But suppose that Junior's history book is only one of many possible histories.
Then how do you explain his solid existence?
Floating a brick on water is not impossible. It's just extremely unlikely.
Oh, stop sounding like a mathematics professor, Peter. Get to this important point.
Until Junior arrived with his books and his papers to show me, us, how we were going to act, he was rather unlikely as a future probability.
Mm-hmm.
But once he convinces us and introduces me to Amelia, Junior's existence becomes a very strong probability. In other words, he exists because he did the fixing that put history on the road that leads directly to him.
Well, you could rob a bank and get tossed in jail, and that would stop you from marrying anybody.
Well, we can't change things that drastically. But we might slip a little change in Junior's character.
How can we do that?
Suppose we could create another very strong future probability. Mightn't he come back and fight just as strong for his own existence?
But how can you do anything like that?
Laura, would you marry me right here and now?
Peter, at 3 o'clock in the morning? Peter, it's Junior again. Don't go. Oh, no.
Well, good morning. I'm in time, I see. You come in. I was hoping you would arrive. I'm the Reverend Peter Laurel Manson III. You'll notice that my middle name is the masculine form of the given name of my grandmother, Laura.
Peter, here is the other probability.
Precisely. Let's get along with it quickly before something else happens. Please, we must not be impatient. There must be witnesses. But I have prepared for everything. Everything. Will you permit me? Do come in. Oh, this is a most auspicious occasion.
Amelia!
And Harry, what are they doing here? People here appear to have forgotten that a man has 4 grandparents.
Well, I'm still a bit confused.
Oh, my dear, if I had not been prepared for this rare and happy occasion, I should be quite disturbed. It isn't often that a man has the opportunity of officiating at a double wedding ceremony uniting his grandparents. Can you make this stick? Yes. Now, unless I double-cross this double ceremony, now, Peter, take Laura's hand and stand away over here on my left. Now we all sort it out properly. Fine. History says that Peter and Laura will have a stalwart son. Harry and Amelia will have a fine daughter. Son and daughter are my own parents.
Are you sure?
I arrived a bit late, my dear, because I have been quite a busy man. I made a stopover on my trip through time, pausing long enough to unite in marriage your son with their daughter. It was a lovely wedding. Goes by. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. Yet that doesn't mean you got to be stuck with any particular mate. There's freedom of choice there. See, the only way you can get rid of the little man who isn't there is to have a different little man not there. That takes care of it.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Seeking an antidote for the stupefying potion given the members of the Metropolis football team, Clark Kent has come to the plantation settlement of Pernambuco, deep in the Central American jungles. The antidote, a brown crystalline substance, is in the possession of the chief of a tribe of savage headhunting Nawan Indians. Kent, after talking with John Carter, manager of the plantation, made arrangements for a local white derelict known as Pango Pete to lead him to the Nawan tribe. But Pete, willing to turn a dishonest deal, has learned that the brown crystals are worth millions of dollars to Kent and plans not to let him gain possession of them without exacting heavy tribute. Carter and Kent have just left Pango Pete's shack and are seated on the screened porch of the manager's bungalow, the orange glow of Carter's cigarettes the only break in the impenetrable darkness. From off in the distance can be heard the rhythmic beat of tom-toms. Listen.
Do those tom-toms continue all through the night, Mr. Carter?
Yes, night and day. That's been going on for almost a week.
Pango Pete said they were Nawan drums. Some sort of ceremony.
Oh, he was probably lying. He told us this afternoon that the Nawan tribe had moved on. Those drums aren't more than 10 miles away. You know, Kent,
I can't get over your offering to pay him $500 to take you to the trial.
Well, it really isn't important.
Well, that's where we disagree. There's something you don't quite understand, Ken. Something that goes beyond money.
What do you mean?
Simply this. Pango Pete is a human derelict. One of those men who's committed a crime against society. No longer has a place among civilized people. That's why he's down here in Pernambuco, because in these jungles, even the lowest of white men have standing.
Well, aren't you being a little unfair? Seems quite harmless.
He is to everyone but himself. His petty thieveries are unimportant. His willingness to permit himself to sink lower and lower is certainly none of our business. Yet in the short year that I've known him, I've somehow felt that there was good in the man if someone could only bring it out.
And yet you blame me for trying to help him by giving him some money.
Well, you haven't helped him. I may be wrong, but I'd be willing to wager that $1 would buy Pango Pete's honest assistance sooner than $500. You offered him a large sum of money for a job he knows isn't worth anywhere near that amount. As a result, he's suspicious. You so willingly pay $500, he reasons he should get $1,000 or more.
Yes, I see your point, but my greatest interest is getting my hands on that antidote at any cost. As I said once before, if $500 will safeguard $3 million, I'm all for spending it.
All I can say is I hope you haven't made a mistake. I hope he isn't misleading you. I'm quite certain those drums we've been hearing are not now-on drums. They're too close. Those headhunters rarely come within 20 miles of a settlement. They know the government has set a price on them. I think Pango Pete's lying.
Well, he better not be. I haven't much time, as you know. That antidote must be back in Metropolis before Saturday. What's that?
Oh, sounds like a cheetah. The jungle is full of them. They're vicious little beasts.
Are they dangerous?
No, not man-killers, if that's what you mean. Oh, I suppose they'd claw a man if one of them was cornered, but I've never heard of a cheetah attacking. I can't say...
That didn't sound like an animal.
It isn't. It's one of my native boys. Come on, let's see what's happened. Here, I'll open the screen door. It came from over there, at the edge of the jungle. Wait. I don't hear anything now, except the drums. Where are you going, Ken?
Just to look around in the brush.
Ken, come back. Don't be a fool. It's alive with Chase.
Don't worry. Whoever was screaming was in serious trouble. Good thing it's pitch dark in case I have to handle whatever this is.
It's Superman. Can't see a thing yet. Wait. Something's moving up ahead of me. Sounds like it might be... What was that? Something struck me and dropped to the ground. Great Scott, it's a stone-tipped dart. Oh, there's another. Looks serious. I'd better get back and warn Carter.
Ken, is that you?
Yes, I'm all right.
Ken, you never should have gone in there. That's one of the primary rules in the traffic. Stay out of the jungle at night. I don't suppose you found anything.
Yes, I did. These.
Poison darts. Where did you get them?
They were shot at me, but they missed.
Kent, that means only one thing. There are headhunters in that patch of jungle. We're in trouble. No wonder those drums were so close. Come on, I've got to round up the men. You'd better go down to Pango Pete's shack and get him up. We may need him. Meet me at my cottage, but hurry.
Okay. Running into headhunters was something I hadn't expected. I hope this doesn't kill my chances of getting that antidote. Now, this is Pete's shack, I think. Yeah. Pete! Mr. Kent, open up.
It ain't going good.
No, but open the door. There's trouble.
Hold on. Now, what's all the excitement?
Mr. Carter says there are headhunters in the jungle near the plantation.
How would he know?
Someone shot these at me. Look.
Blimey. Poison stick. Don't point them at me. One scratch with them and you're a goner for sure. Dig them into the ground. That'll kill the poison.
All right, I will. Mr. Carter's rounding up the men. He wants us to meet him at his cottage.
Right. Wait till I get into some clothes.
Okay.
How'd you know them fighters was in the jungle?
Well, we heard a man screaming, and when we got to the edge of the brush, these darts came winging out.
Who was it screamed?
We don't know. Mr. Carter thinks it was one of his native boys.
You know what that means, don't you? They got the poor blighter, them heathens did. Well, I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Them tom-toms sound like they moved up close.
Yes, they have. You sure they're Nawan drums?
Couldn't be nothing else. Tell by the ring of them.
Well, that means Nawan shot the dart.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, Mr. Carter certainly rounded the men up fast. They're all behind his cottage. Oh, there he is on the porch.
Ken, come inside quickly. Pete with you?
Yes, he is. Where is he?
Right here, Mr. Carter.
How can we stop this, Pete? Kent told you what happened.
Yep.
They got one boy, Tonio. I suppose we can get him up for logs.
Yeah, looks like it.
Those tom-toms are awfully close now.
That's not all. Listen.
Yeah, war chant, that is. It means business, them black devils.
We've got to stop them. Can you handle a rifle, Kent?
Yes, but I...
Here, take this one and shoot to kill. No telling how many of them are hidden in that jungle. What do you say, Pete?
Well, I don't know rightly. Them Nawans is a big tribe. Mighty big.
Probably 100 of them, all with blowguns and poison darts. Listen to them chant. Blood-curdling.
If I could get the old Chief Sangha, might get him to call them off for a handful of drink.
Oh, that's impossible now. It's certain death to anyone who goes near that jungle.
There's one of them. See the heathen sneaking along the edge?
Yes, I see him. Almost like a black pygmy.
Yeah, they're little fellas, but mean. Keep an eye on him. Watch what he does.
I'm going to keep more than an eye on him. Hold that screen door open, Kent.
Okay.
You got the black devil.
Oh, listen to them now. They're going crazy.
Yeah, that shot did it.
Afraid my native boys are going to get panicky. They're all hurted in the back, frightened to death. Take a look at them, Pete. Calm them down.
Yeah, I'll do what I can.
See anything, Kent?
No, not a thing. We must be close. That chanting and the drums.
Entirely too close for comfort, Kent. Realize what can happen? These savage tribes have wiped out entire settlements. They're amazing marksmen with their deadly little blowguns and poison darts.
Look! Something's moving at the edge of the clearing. Over to the left.
Yes, I see. Open the screen door.
Okay. Look out!
Oh. Saved my life that time, Kent. That dart would have struck me in the shoulder if you hadn't pushed me. How in heaven's name did you ever see it coming?
I don't know. Maybe we'd better not open that door again.
Probably not. What's happened to Pango Pete? He shouldn't be taking this long.
Here I am, Mr. Carter. You said to calm the men down, didn't you?
How are they?
Herded together like a bunch of sheep, that's how. If them Nawans get close enough to spot them, there'll be slaughter, and you can light of that.
We can't let them get close enough.
Sooner said than done. Like's not the clearing's alive with them, only we can't see them. Like's not they're crawling up on their bellies, fixing to rush us.
Only they'd stop that infernal drumming and that chant. It's driving me mad.
Let me see whether I can make power with them.
You mean go out there?
Blimey, no, I ain't that crazy. Step aside from the door. We'll give it a try. Now, keep a sharp watch.
We will.
Well, here goes. Hi-yo, fire! Hi-yo, fire!
Chanting, stop.
Hold the drum.
Hi-yo, fire! Hi-yo, fire!
What did he say?
I asked him who they was, and he says the Nawan to speak.
Find out what they want.
Nawan! Talofa, my God, Ali!
Yes?
You ain't gonna like this, Mr. Carter. None at all.
What is it? What do they want?
He said, Kayabana. That means 5 heads.
5 heads?
That's it. If you ask me, I'd say we were getting off mighty cheap.
Nobody's asking you. This isn't the Middle Ages. I wouldn't make a human sacrifice if my life depended on it. Tell the bloodthirsty beggars no.
As you wish. Naga! Naga!
What does that mean?
It means we'd all better start saying our prayers now. Because here they come, and there ain't nothing gonna stop them.
As the weird tom-toms beat with new frenzy, and as the savage voices of the Narwan headhunters rise in the night, Clark Kent, as Superman, prepares to do battle with the strangest enemy he has yet faced. How will he fare against 100 black pygmies who are shadows in the darkness? Can he keep them off and at the same time get possession of the precious antidote? Listen in to the next episode for a smashing climax to this jungle drama. Follow the thrilling story with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
The bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
The bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Clark Kent, in an effort to secure an antidote to the brain-numbing potion given the members of the Metropolis University football team, has gone to the jungles of Central America, where a tribe of savage, head-hunting Indians known as the Narwhals are said to possess the antidote. On the advice of John Carter, manager of a rubber plantation, Kent hired a local white derelict known as Tango Pete to lead him to the Narwhal tribe. But that night, the head-hunting Indians attacked the plantation, captured one native worker, and with tom-toms beating and weird savage cries echoing through the jungle, closed in on the cottage where Kent, John Carter, and Tango Pete waited, armed with rifles. Behind the cottage, 100 plantation workers are huddled in deadly fear of the approaching savages. On the screened porch, Kent, Carter, and Tango Pete peer into the darkness as the jungle drums beat out an eerie warning of doom. Listen.
Keep a sharp lookout, Kent. There's no telling how many of the black beggars there are. Okay. Pete.
Right here, Mr. Carter.
I thought you were friendly with the Narwhals, Pete. Don't you know their chief?
Oh, I knows him right enough. Chief Sanga's his name. But he ain't out there.
How do you know he isn't?
He don't move much, Chief Sanga don't. He's a bit on the old side, he is. All dried up like a prune. No, he ain't out there.
Isn't there anything that you can do to stop them?
You heard me try. They want 5 heads, they says. 5 heads to stick up on that bloomin' pole. Now, if I was you...
Try talking to them again. Tell them we'll give them food and jewelry.
It ain't gonna do no good.
Well, try it.
Right-o. Hiya, fire! Hiya, fire!
Well, it shut them up, at least temporarily.
Go ahead, Pete. Food and jewelry.
You got to wait till he answers.
What does that mean?
It means, is we ready?
Ready for what?
To give him 5 heads, I typed it.
Offer them food and jewelry. Hurry, Pete.
No one! Thunder! My guy! Blimey, I don't know how to cite jewelry in their bloomin' language.
Listen.
What does that mean, Pete?
5 heads or nothing.
All right. Tell them it's nothing. No. Wait. I've got a better idea. We'll give them 5 men.
You can't do that, Carter. It's murder.
Don't worry. I'm not giving them 5 men. We'll try working a ruse. Are you game to go out there with me? What's that, Pete?
They wants to know what's holding up the works, as you might say.
All right. Tell them we'll give them 5 men.
Right-o. Hi-yo! Bonatuma!
What's your plan, Carter?
Now listen carefully. You, Pete, and I will go out to meet them with 2 of the native boys.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Carter. Tango Pete ain't getting social with them Narwhal headhunters. Not on your life.
And why not? It's my understanding that you are on friendly terms with the Narwhal tribe. Matter of fact, it's been rumored that you haven't been above supplying them with native victims.
That's a lie. There ain't a soul can prove it. I never turned no one over to them bloody heathens.
How is it you can speak their language? I've always wondered about that.
Oh, I picked it up doing a little trading with them. That's the truth. So help me.
What sort of trading could you do with savage Indians except trading in human beings?
You got no right to say that, Mr. Carter, you ain't.
Oh, I wonder. At any rate, you're going out there with us, whether you like it or not. You're the only one who can speak their gibberish. Well, what about you, Kent? I know I've got no business asking you to risk your life.
I'll go along. As a matter of fact, I'd much rather tackle them alone.
Don't be a fool, man. They've got blowguns and poison darts. All 5 of us will meet them, armed with the 2 rifles with a revolver I have in my office. You handle a rifle, Mr. Kent?
I think so.
You'll take the revolver, Pete.
You can't give me no orders, Mr. Carter. I ain't going out there, I ain't.
You'll do as I say. I'm running this rubber plantation, and I've put up with enough from you for a long time. I've closed my eyes to your petty thieveries and your lying and your dishonesty.
It ain't true. It ain't true.
Shut up. I'm giving the orders now, and I don't want any more talk.
There it goes again. Probably got tired waiting.
Tell them we're coming, Pete.
I don't have to if I don't feel it.
Tell them we're coming, or I'll put a bullet through your head.
All right. I don't have to use them tactics, Mr. Carter. It ain't like you.
Never mind what's like me now. Hurry up.
I'm worrying. Hiya, Lana!
What did they answer?
I didn't catch.
You're lying in your teeth. It doesn't matter now. I'll go back and get the 2 boys and the revolver. Keep an eye on him, Kent. I don't trust him.
All right.
I'll be right back.
what do you suppose got into Mr. Carter? It ain't a bit like him. It ain't acting up this way. If you takes my advice, bully boy, you'll wash your hands of this business. He's making a big mistake. He is a big mistake. Them no ones ain't no bloomin' beggars to mess with, they ain't.
And yet you were willing to take me to their chief for $500, 100 of which I've already given you.
Taking your old chief's hunger in the daytime ain't meeting up with a bloomin' 100 of them at night. And there's something else you got to remember. We ain't going to be able to get that medicine you come down for if we antagonize the Nawans. We ain't.
I'm sure Mr. Carter realizes that and has taken it into consideration.
I wouldn't be too sure if I was you. He's looking to keep his head on his neck, he is, and that's the truth of it. He don't care a bit whether you get your medicine or not. You can take it from me. Why don't you stick with me, bully boy? Why don't you tell him he ain't got no stomach for mixing with them Nawans? If we pull solid on both oars, he'll do the trick, it will. He'll back water.
And then what? You say there are 100 of them out there, armed with blowguns and poison darts.
They won't bother you and me. You got my word for it. We ain't exactly enemies, if you get what I mean.
Yes, I think I do get what you mean.
Well, how about it?
This is my answer.
Hey, what are you doing? Leave me loose
I
now.
think we'll put you to sleep for a while. Good night, Pete.
Oh!
That's much better. Now to deposit you in some safe, secluded place for the time being. Let's see now. Now, the back of that truck parked out front looks like it might do.
Up with you, my bully boy.
Open the screen door gently. There we are. Yes, that truck will do nicely. In you go. Now, I think it's high time Superman took over. I can probably handle those headhunters without any bloodshed, and as Pango Pete said, it doesn't pay to antagonize them. Uh-oh. I'd better duck behind the truck and get these city clothes off before Carter spots me. I think the Nawans would enjoy seeing me in full costume. There. That does it. Now let's see what savage headhunters look like from the air. Up! Up! And away! There they are, hiding in the brush at the edge of the jungle. There's a lot more than 100. Some of them seem to be carrying spears. I'll drop a little lower. Down! Down! Yes, a few of them have spears, probably with poison tips. They're certainly bloodthirsty-looking creatures, all painted up with bones stuck through their nostrils. I no wonder Pete didn't want to meet them in the dark. I said he didn't. Enough to frighten anybody. What would happen, I wonder, if I just dropped down in the middle of them? No, I don't think that's so smart. Yeah, that looks like a clearing over to the left. I'll drop down and watch them from there. Down! Yes, this is as good a vantage point as any. Now we'll see what happens. Uh-oh. They're getting impatient again. That means trouble. Yes, they're moving out of the brush toward the cottage. I think I'd better... What happened? Great Scott! Carter's coming out of the cottage with 4 native boys. He's going to face them. He can't do that. It's suicide. Oh, and look, they're shooting poison darts at him. He's firing. Carter! Go back, you fool! Go back! Carter! Now I'll have to take a hand. Up! There we are. All right, you beggars. Fire your poison darts on me. Come on. You with that spear. Come on, pitch it over the place. Didn't think I could catch it, did you? Watch out. Here it comes back at you. Now, decided to gang up on me, have you? Okay, see how you like this. Take that. That'll take care of you. All right, stick around, you beggars. Don't tell me you've had enough. What are you running for? So, you can't take it, huh? I didn't think so. Well, now to get back to Carter. That's Clark Kent. That's funny. He's gone. Last time I saw him, he was halfway between the cottage and the jungle. Maybe he's in the cottage with the light on. Well, Mr. Carter, Great Scotty. He's stretched out on his bed, white as a sheet.
Boy, what happened to him?
Poison dart.
What? Where did it hit him?
In arm. This one.
Let's get a look at it. Come on, rip the sleeve off, will you? Yes, I see it. Just a pinprick, but it's red and swollen. Mr. Carter, what can I do for you? Just tell me.
Nothing to do. All over. Soon.
But there must be something. Some antidote, some medicine.
Indians have medicine, but it's too late.
Facing slow but certain death as the venomous poison seeps into his bloodstream, John Carter can only gasp that the Narwan Indians have the only antidote. And so, once again, Kent is faced with the problem of getting an antidote for a native drug. But this time, minutes count. What can Kent, even as Superman, accomplish? Don't miss the next episode. Listen in with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars. We take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. At Space Academy, the bright sun glints along the polished metal of a rocket cruiser's hull. This is the Polaris, ready to blast off from the spaceport into the outer reaches of the universe. But on this fine day, aboard their proud and eager ship, the Space Cadet crew, for once, shows no desire to leave. On the power deck, good-natured Astro scowls as he makes a final check of his equipment. And glaring through the viewport, Roger Manning complains bitterly to Tom Corbett.
I tell you, Junior, this is the limit. They can't do this to us.
That's what the man said as he picked himself up from the floor. But since the professor will be along any minute, Roger, you might as well stop blowing your...
Space dust. What are we, taxi drivers for any old fossil who wants to poke around on Titan?
Stow it. We don't any of us like this mission. But you can't expect hot assignments all the time.
Why not, Tom? We're the best unit in the academy.
Says you.
Says Commander Arkwright, even.
You seem to be a little feverish, Roger, or is your memory slipping?
You mean when he fuses our jets? That's just math. He knows we're good.
Well, maybe he thinks this will be a nice rest.
Rest. A straight run to Titan and then waiting hand and foot on some old goat of a scientist.
Hello, boys.
Oh, morning, sir.
Who am I? Why, I'm your passenger. The old goat of a scientist.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you aboard, sir.
Thank you, Cadet Corbett. And I'm sure that goes for Roger Manning, too.
Well, I guess you aren't, sir. An old goat, I mean.
Thank you, Cadet Manning.
You seem to know us, sir.
I know quite a lot about the whole Polaris unit. You see, I'm not a scientist either.
Wait a minute. Our passenger's supposed to be...
Whatever you were expecting, I'm your passenger.
Maybe you'd better explain, sir.
I will. But first, are we ready to blast off?
Blast off time set for 0800. It's 3 minutes to, and we're ready.
No last-minute trips outside? No girls you have to kiss goodbye, Manning?
He really does know about you, Roger.
Yeah, well, I want to know more about him.
Right. Here are my credentials, Corbett.
Oh, thanks. Great Jupiter. Take a look at these, Roger.
Colonel Raymond Cowan, Solar Guard Intelligence Service. But, sir, you're not in uniform.
In my line of work, we usually prefer not to be recognized.
That's the reason for all this hocus-pocus about a professor on a field trip to Titan.
Oh, then this is really going to be an intelligence mission.
In a way.
Well, that's better. What goes on Titan, sir?
Nothing that I know of.
But then why...
You see, you weren't told the correct destination either. We'll head in that general direction, but we're concerned with another moon of Saturn, Rhea.
Rhea, hey.
You've heard of it, I imagine.
Well, everybody has, Colonel. The papers and magazines have been full of stories about it recently.
Sure, ever since they developed that, the stuff that knocks out virus disease.
The viricide, F3, yes. Out of strange little crystal plants that are entirely unlike anything we've known, they've created the greatest miracle in medical history. If they can only make enough of it.
Sounds as if you're pretty interested in it, sir.
I am, but everyone should be. Think of it. Diseases that men have been trying to conquer for thousands of years. Some of the worst cripplers and killers can now be licked.
No wonder they're starting to call Rhea the satellite of life.
That's what it is. But our job is to keep it from becoming a satellite of death.
What?
So you see, this isn't going to be such a dull assignment, cadets. All right, prepare to blast off. We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by.
Spaceman, if you want to blast through tomorrow at full space speed, then listen. Tomorrow morning, when Reveille sounds, hop up and jump out of bed. Well, maybe jump is the wrong word. Anyhow, get out of bed and dress yourself. Next, wash yourself slowly and carefully. Well, at least wash yourself and brush your teeth. Okay, you'll pass inspection. Now, you're ready to enjoy the Spaceman's Breakfast, Kellogg's Pep. Wait, Spaceman, Kellogg's Pep deserves a bigger fanfare than that. Remember, Pep is the build-up wheat cereal with a wonderful flavor. Well, that's more like it. Lots of energy there. And that's just what you get when you eat Kellogg's Pep. Lots of food energy. Eat Pep, and you get the food power necessary to travel at full space speed. Pep supplies you with important vitamins that help build strong bones, tough muscles, and healthy teeth. But, Spaceman, that's not all. When you eat Pep, you enjoy its wonderful, rich malt flavor. Yes, that's what you'll say when you dig into a heaping bowl full of delicious Kellogg's Pep. So, Spaceman, start off tomorrow the Spaceman's way with Kellogg's Pep. That's P-E-P. Pep. Kellogg's Pep.
The Space Cadets ordered to fly a scientist to Titan, largest moon of the planet Saturn, are disgusted with such a dull assignment. But their passenger turns out to be Colonel Cowan of Solar Guard Intelligence. And their real destination, Rhea, another Saturnian moon which has become known as the satellite of life. Now, far out in space, Tom and Roger, having set the Polaris on course for Rhea, turn again to the Colonel.
So what's the story on Rhea, sir?
Well, for some time, we've been after a well-organized, completely ruthless space gang. They've been looting ships, raiding settlements, getting away with murder, literally.
Can a gang like that be tracked down?
We've made a start, but most of our leads have taken us just exactly nowhere.
Well, what's the idea of the flight we're on?
One tip we received is that Rhea is the gang's next objective. Since I have a special interest, I was assigned to check.
Why should a gang like that be interested in Rhea?
Viricide F3, Corbett. The power of life or death over many thousands of people.
I can see it'd be quite a black market item, Colonel.
Oh, they could make a fortune, all right. But it's more than that, boys. There's a leading member of the Solar Council who's doomed without that medicine. One of our planetary governors has a daughter who's very sick indeed. F3 will save her life.
Don't get it.
I think I do, sir. You mean they could use this medicine to exert pressure on important people?
Exactly. The men who control F3 can get almost anything they want from almost anybody.
But who's going to help a gang like that?
Not helping could mean death. For themselves or for someone they love.
Well, even so, sir.
Manning.
Yes, sir?
My wife is one of those who needs that medicine.
I'm sorry.
And if it came to saving her life, I don't know how far I'd go, even with a gang of killers.
Of course, Colonel.
I see you're beginning to understand.
I can see that it'd all be true if they could monopolize Viruside F3.
Well, the last shipment left Rhea 6 weeks ago. A shipment of less than 30 pounds. And while in space, the ship blew up.
The gang did it?
Most likely, though we don't know. But consider this. A raid on Rhea now would give them all the F3 that's been manufactured in the last 3 months.
Yes, and suppose they blasted the processing plants and the scientists in charge.
It'd take us a year to get into production again. And in the meantime, the gang would have the only supply of F3 in the entire universe.
That certainly puts it right up to us, sir. If the tip about Rhea is true.
Don't worry, Colonel. We'll blast those crooks right out of space.
I know you will. That's why I asked for the Polaris unit.
Better not tell Astro that. His head will swell up till it won't fit into his space helmet.
Say, I forgot about Astro. There's no reason for him to stay on the power deck now.
Well, give him a call on the intercom.
Sure. Control the power deck. Come in, Astro. Astro, check in, will you?
What's the matter with that Venusian ape?
Could anything be wrong?
Nah, he's probably on his way up. See, here he is now. Hey, Bubblehead. Great galaxy.
That's not Astro.
You're right, it isn't. So don't anybody move.
He's got a parallel ray gun.
So have I.
Corbett?
Colonel Collins.
Skip it. He's frozen. Sucker. Trying to draw on a guy that had him covered. You kids better be smarter.
You dirty space crawler.
Want some of the same?
Take it easy, Roger. We haven't got a chance right now.
Not now or ever. So just move back while I get his gun. That's it.
What did you do to Astro?
The big boy on the power deck? He's in the deep freeze, too. Never even saw me sneak up behind him.
Pretty brave guy, aren't you?
Being brave don't pay off, sonny boy. Look at your colonel. Makes a real nice statue, don't he?
All right, so you got us. Now what?
Everything will come out okay if you two act like good little boys and keep this ship going right on course.
As we're heading now?
Yeah. I'm going your way. I got a date with my gang near Rhea.
Rhea? Then the colonel's tip was accurate.
Sure, just like he figured. We're taking over F3. And the price will be going way up.
Tom, why should we run the Polaris for this space ride?
Well, how do you mean, Roger?
Suppose we just quit, knock off, and let Ugly here run the ship himself.
No, passive resistance, eh?
It won't work, fellas, so don't even try.
Oh, why won't it?
I'll tell you. So far, I've been trying to be nice about this whole thing. Even using a parallel ray to just paralyze you monkeys instead of killing you with a heat blast.
Well, thanks, Heat.
You're welcome, but get this straight. Try any tricks. I'll shove your buddy Astro and the colonel out into space.
That'd be murder.
Some might call it that. I'd call it a lesson for fresh kids. And if that didn't line you, I could get rid of you two the same way.
Guess he's got us stymied, Roger.
What? Where'd he be without a pilot, navigator, or radar man?
Don't worry. I'd make out. I'm no hot rod space cadet, but with the course set, I can take the ship in from here.
He could at that.
Now, that's being sensible, kid. Behave. You'll all stay alive. There's plenty of work to do and plenty of information you can give us.
You think we tell you anything?
People always do. Look how we were able to find out about this little junk of the Cowans. In time for me to stow away and stop them.
How did you find out?
Never mind. We're just smarter than the Solar Guard, that's all. Like I'm smarter than you.
Smarter than us? Why, you ape-faced dimwit.
Wait, Roger. Maybe he's right.
I don't like the way you're talking, Junior.
He's just getting wised up.
Maybe he is smarter, Roger. Anyway, he's got the gun, and you've got to admit it looks as if we're licked. Hey, Roger.
What do you want, quitter?
Aren't we getting badly off course out of the space lane?
What's that?
Haven't you noticed, Roger?
No, I haven't.
It's your job to check our orbit, Roger. Do you want us to get into trouble?
Yeah, how about that? What's wrong, Corbett?
Well, take a look at the stars out there. Doesn't the pattern look wrong to you?
Stars? Well, they look about like always. Maybe a little funny.
Sure, it's obvious we're off course. Look at the relative position of Vega, for instance.
Vega? Oh, yeah, sure, Vega. Yeah, that's right.
We're in trouble. Listen, Roger, it must be the cosmic drift.
Cosmic drift? You got space junk in your head, or is it...
Space junk, you're right, Roger. That's the danger.
That's not what I said.
Absolutely. Cosmic drift could carry us right out of the clear space lane into the Tombstone area.
Hey, I've heard about that. We can really get clobbered by space junk there.
That's right, Roger. Anything could happen there. Anything.
Huh? Oh, it sure could. You got any suggestions for escaping this cosmic drift, Tom?
Now, you've got to settle it, wise guy. Now, get us out of it. And fast, or I'll put the freeze on you.
Hold on. Roger has to navigate.
Okay, but get going.
Our course is starboard, isn't it, Roger?
That's right. An 8-degree sweep should put us about right. Then I'll give you more correction.
Shaq, get back where we belong fast and stay there this time. No young punk can put anything over on me.
I've had my lesson. I know what I'm doing now.
Yep, we'll do just what you say. Now, come on, Roger. If we work fast, everything ought to turn out all right.
Look what I'm picking up on the radar screen, Junior.
Let me see, Roger.
Uh-oh. What now?
A big piece of space junk right in our path.
And some hunk of rock big as a mountain.
Well, that cosmic drift sure threw us off. Now, come on, do something.
Well, I'm going to try, you can bet. Gosh, that thing's close.
And listen to the blips.
Why, they're building up. We'll be into it in a minute.
Well, come on, get them over.
I'm trying, but this is an emergency. We need to blast on the steering rockets. Roger, get down to the power deck, right?
No, stay right here where I can watch your boat.
Well, then we can't work the steering blast.
Pull out with the controls.
Impossible. Can't you see I'm trying?
There's a warning signal. We'll smash. Let me go down.
No, Corbett, get us out of this or I'll shoot.
Well, if we don't get out, there'll be nobody to shoot.
Shut off the power.
That'll make it worse. No thrust.
I can't get out of the way.
Blast you, you're not trying.
Maybe you could do better.
Yeah, I could. Let me hit those controls.
Okay, take them. And there's two.
Oh.
Knocked them cold, Tom. Nice going.
Yeah, it was a snap. I hit him with the control lever.
That piece of space junk really had him worried.
How far away is it, really?
Far enough to be safe. That was a great bluff you put up, Tom, struggling at the controls without moving them.
Yeah, you did a nice job with the enlargement control, too, building up the picture and the blips. But it was the warning bell that really scared him. How'd you set that off, anyway?
Shorted the wires. And, Tom, I'm sorry I didn't trust you before.
Skip it. Let's get out of here. Don't forget, we are in the Tombstone area now. I'll just start a sweep back to port and lose that space mountain out there.
Right. Oh, it's gone. Cosmic drift. Oh, brother. Hey, let's unfreeze the colonel with this gun.
Thanks. That was rough. Seeing, hearing everything, but being helplessly paralyzed. I'll admit I didn't catch on to what you were up to, Tom, until Roger started to play along.
Smart work, Junior. Pretending to put us back on course and heading for the space junkyard instead.
Anyway, it worked. Now we have to reset our orbit to Rhea. Sir, will you go down and unfreeze Astro?
You bet. Give me the gun.
Hey, Roger. The radar, didn't you turn the gain down?
Yeah, something really is coming. Jumping Jupiter, try to dodge, Tom.
Okay.
It's a small piece, but right on top of us. Look out!
Great galaxy. It must have gone right through the ship.
And I shorted out the bell that would have warned us in time.
The rockets are dead. The space junk must have hit the power deck. And Astro's down there, still paralyzed. Come on, we've got to find out if he's hurt. How is he, Colonel?
He'll be all right, Tom.
You sure, sir?
Yes, there's no fracture. But that piece of metal gave him a hard clout just the same. He'll be unconscious for several hours. How about ship damage?
Bad, sir. We sealed up the holes in the hull easily enough, stopped the air loss. But the rockets...
Well, it's hard to believe one crummy little hunk of stone could tear things up like that.
How soon can we make repairs?
Well, Astro's the mechanical whiz.
Yes, he could patch it up in a few hours. We'll have to go more slowly.
How long?
Oh, maybe half a day. Faster if Astro comes through in time to help.
Half a day without power? You realize what that means?
Yes, sir, we sure do. It means we'll never get to Rhea in time to stop that raid.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by.
The Hydra blasts off for a patrol around Saturn's ring. Space freighter Lexus blasts off with a cargo for Mercury. Space cruiser Draco blasts off on a Mercy mission to Venus. One after another, ships from Space Academy hurtle out into the far-flung regions of space. And now here's the one man responsible for the perfect execution of these operations. The Commandant of Space Academy, Commander Arkwright.
Spaceman, you can take my word for it. Every man on those spaceships is equipped with an official pair of space goggles. I wouldn't allow a man out into space without a pair. You see, space goggles protect a cadet's eyes when he's rocketing through space. And they'll help protect your eyes when you're heading into the glaring sun or bucking a strong headwind. You'll find dozens of good uses for your pair of space goggles. They're made of one sweeping, curved piece of colored plastic, and they fit comfortably over both eyes. So, spacemen, send for your goggles right away. Listen carefully and write down these instructions.
Here's what you do. Send 25 cents, one box top from Kellogg's Pep, and your name and address. That's 25 cents, one box top from Kellogg's Pep, and your name and address. Send to this address. Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Spaceman, write for your official space goggles today, and be sure to eat the Spaceman's Breakfast. Kellogg's Pep. That's swell-tasting, build-up wheat cereal.
By pretending that the Polaris was about to collide with a huge mass of space junk, Tom and Roger managed to trick their captor, regain control of the ship, and release Colonel Cowan. However, the trick backfired when a smaller piece of rock tore through the Polaris and knocked out the main drive. With the cruiser drifting powerless and ace mechanic Astro unconscious from the accident, it now appears that they will be unable to stop the gang's raid on Rhea, the satellite of light.
You boys were right. This is hopeless. We just don't have the know-how to do a quick repair job.
But we can't give up, Colonel.
Of course not. But this way's too slow.
We're not doing so bad, sir. This mess is beginning to look like a power system again.
A little, Manning, but we can't gamble on it.
Maybe Astro will come too sooner than you figured.
It's still a gamble. And remember, thousands of lives are at stake, including my wife's.
Then we'll have to notify the Solar Guard over our audio channel.
No, if we break audio silence, we'd be notifying the criminals, too. They're probably tuned to our frequency right now.
Oh, suppose they did hear us. What could they do?
Move faster than they planned. They'd hit Rhea, grab the F3 viricide, wipe out the plants, and get away. If there were only some way.
Sir, wait a minute. There's the jet boat. Go from here to Rhea in that flivver? We are pretty far away, but there's a possibility.
It might work.
You said you didn't want to gamble, sir, and this is the biggest gamble I can think of. Jet boats don't carry that much fuel.
Just the same, I'm going.
You'll need a pilot, sir. I'll go along.
Thanks, Corbett, but I couldn't ask you to do that.
You didn't ask me, sir. I volunteered. Roger, you keep at the rocket. Sure, but when Astro comes to, he can help. And when you get the ship fixed, follow us to Rhea. All right. Don't worry about it. But this jet boat junket is plain crazy. It has to be done, Roger. You know that. And suppose you do make it. What can two men do against a gang with a spaceship?
He's right, Corbett. It's a long shot. Better let me go alone.
No, sir. At least two men have a better chance than one. And as long as there's any chance at all, we have to try. Right, sir?
Right.
All right, then, Colonel. Let's go. We've made it, sir. There's Rio below us.
I didn't think we'd ever see this place. Listen to those jets. They're nearly finished.
Fuel's about gone. If I hadn't happened to hit it right...
It didn't just happen. You're a fine pilot.
Thanks, sir. We're close enough now to take a look through the glasses and see what's happening.
I have them here. I'm almost afraid to look. The gang has already hit and run. Well, here goes. Great Jupiter!
What's wrong, sir?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Men at work just as usual. We're in time.
Oh, thank goodness. I'll tell you the truth now, sir. I didn't think we had a chance.
And neither did I. The gang must be holding off, waiting to hear from their man on the Polaris.
I guess we've been pretty lucky, sir.
Well, we don't need much more luck now. Just a little, and our mission will be accomplished. Rhea's precious medicine will be saved for the people of the entire universe.
Don't miss the next action-packed episode with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Thursday, when Tom and Captain Cowan find that treachery awaits them on Rhea in Part 2 of The Satellite of Death. Tune in, same time, same station on Thursday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom
you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin and Neil O'Malley. Today's program was written by Don Hughes, directed by Drex Himes. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran, raisins and bran flakes too. They're out of this world, they're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Kellogg's raisins are honeycomb coated to keep them tender, the bran flakes crisper. Kellogg's Raisin Bran, raisins and bran flakes too. They're out of this world, they're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Standing at the entrance of a walled Arab town, while behind you, coming slowly through the night, are the shuffling footsteps of a blind beggar who will lead you into a harrowing world of darkness and terror. Listen now as Escape brings you Kathleen Height's terrifying story, The Return. Freighter Menlo coursed slowly through the breakwater of the outer harbor. Most of the 12 passengers were on deck, looking north beyond the converging jetties to the modern city of Deserta. The two of us, a man named Tuckett and myself, Deserta was a destination. I didn't know what brought Tuckett here. I didn't really know what brought me here. I only knew that I'd looked for something all over the world without success. I'd looked everywhere except Deserta. Ashore, I checked in at a small hotel, and a short time later, I was part of the early evening crowd on the streets of Deserta. All right, there you go. Hey, can you tell me how to get to the Arab? Oh, sorry, I didn't notice about your eyes.
One does not need eyes to perceive truth, Effendi.
No, I suppose not. What's your name?
Nega. The Arab town is north, due north of here, and the truth is everywhere, for all to see, if they will but see.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Well, goodbye, Nega.
Nega, Effendi. Nega.
Reeser? It is Mr. Reeser, isn't it? Hello, Tuckett. I lost track of you when we came ashore. Thought I'd find you again at the hotel, but they tell me you're not registered. Where are you staying? Hotel North Africa. How about joining you there for dinner, if you don't have any plans? I don't think I have any plans. And if I do, they can catch up with me there, don't you think? Oh, yes? Yes, I guess they can. Didn't mean much more to me than it to Tuckett. I tried to explain during dinner. Maybe the wine was talking, maybe me. Either way, Tuckett seemed interested enough to ask the question. I think I understand, but have you any idea what you're looking for, Risa? I'm looking for a place where there's no struggle. No struggle for you, for anyone. I'm 40 years old, Tuckett. For a little over half my lifetime, I've traveled the world, worked my way. Freighters and expeditions, bummed along on foot. Worked to sea and the earth, flown fighter planes and freight lines above it. And I tell you, there's only one thing that's universal, the struggle.
Why, I suppose that's right. But it seems to me we're making a lot of progress in some directions. Now, medicine, for example.
Well, medicine's a good example. They licked pneumonia and found cancer waiting for them. They inoculate for smallpox, they find bubonic plague. For every achievement, there's a struggle waiting. I wonder if that's progress, Tucker.
Well, I don't know. I never thought of it this way.
Well, you take food, clothing, and shelter, basic needs. Plus, in some parts of the world, people don't have them. But even when they do, there are bigger struggles to take their place. Fears, insecurity. Maybe you beat these things one at a time, but you've never got it made. While you're fighting against one struggle, another's being fed and made strong. And it never ends. Not until you die struggling to live.
Funny in a way. You've come to Deserta hoping you'll find a place where there's no struggle. And I've come here, well, to get into the struggle, I guess. I'm opening an import-export business. It's small and I'm sure full of struggle, but I'm not cynical about it or disillusioned yet.
No, I don't feel cynical, Tucker. I'm just short on hope. I don't see any end in sight.
Reeser, what would you change if it were up to you?
The struggle. Show me the place where there's no struggle. That's where I want to be.
I wonder what it would be like.
Yeah. If you find it, let me know, will you? If I can, I will. I promised I'd get in touch with Crockett in a few days. But as I went back to the streets of Deserta, walking through the fine rain that was falling now, I wondered if I'd ever see him again. My course took me north, along the canal, through the modern city, past the ancient citadel, to the entrance of the walled Arab town. I passed no one, yet I knew I was not alone. Someone was following behind me. Soon I heard his footsteps at my side.
We are almost there, Effendi.
Oh, Nega. Walking without your cane to lead you.
I am come to lead you, Effendi.
Where?
Through the wall ahead. Your words have been heard, Effendi. You are ready?
Ready for what?
You have said, show me the place where there is no struggle. I am come to lead you, Effendi.
Where? How do you know what I've said?
You have asked enough questions of life, Effendi. Come, we go through the wall.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Look about you, Effendi. On all sides there are walls. You have come too far to go back. There is no way back.
What are you talking about? I can't go back.
You have said the word. Show me the place. Through the wall ahead is the perfect place. I will lead you there.
This is crazy. You're crazy. You're blind. You can't lead me anywhere. Let go of me.
You yourself have said that struggle is useless.
I said let go of me, filthy old...
Saida, Effendi. Saida.
I had swung at Nagel with all the force in me, only to find myself flattened against the wall. Did I slip on the wet pavement or trip? I don't know. But it was no imaginary wall I'd hit. I felt the hard pain of it in the rain beating against my face. And then it was over. The room in which I awakened was large. Large and empty, with great windows at the far end and bright sunlight streaming through them. No room I'd ever seen before. My clothes were no longer damp, and there was no pain in me. I moved toward the sunlight. You were a long time coming, Lisa. I don't see you. Come out of the shadows toward the light. You will find. Now you can see me, can you not? Yes, now I see you. You seem to know me, but I've never seen you before. I am called Zine. You are most welcome, Lisa. Yours has been a tortuous trip, I know. I don't understand it. That beggar, old fool, he said he was leading me to the perfect place. The important thing is that you are here, Lisa. Come, look through the windows. Oh, that's beautiful. Mountains and valleys, lakes and fields. Never seen anything like it. It is perfect. You are in the perfect place because you want to be here. You look the world over. You witness the struggle. You wanted to be free of it. Am I dead? Do you feel dead? No, I don't. I feel confused. So much I don't understand. I have questions. You will begin to see the answers for yourself once the processing has begun. Processing? There are things you must give up for perfection, Lisa. In the processing, these things will leave you. One of them is written in your expression now, doubt. You cannot doubt perfection and have it, too. And after that, you must give up fear and greed. Will you miss them, Lisa? No, of course not. There are other things, of course. Whenever you have questions, you will find me nearby to answer them. Do you have any more questions now? No. Then you are ready. Go on, my son. Go out and live in the perfect place. You hesitate. Why? Well, I don't know. Surely there's nothing to fear from perfection. You would not think so, would you, my son? I went out the door and down the path into the perfect place. Hesitation and fear grew less with each step. I turned a short distance away to wave back at Zine, but the door I had walked through was gone, and the building, the window, no sign of Zine. Somehow it seemed unimportant. I turned back to the path and walked ahead.
Hello, my love.
Hello?
I am Angela.
Hello, Angela.
You are Lisa, my love. I knew you would be here when I wanted you most.
You were expecting me? You knew I would be here?
I wanted you. Take my hand. We will walk together, won't we?
I think we will, Angela.
Oh, my love. Ours will be a lovely time together. Perfectly lovely.
Angela was all of beauty, all of woman, grace and strength and delicacy. And she was always at my side as we walked the broad valleys of the perfect place. She was my love, and it was a perfect love. This land was all beauty. The people were all smiles. Every need was satisfied. And there was love in abundance, peace and perfection at every hand. And there was no struggle about anything. After a time when I felt the need of a friend, I found one. My friend was Lar, Angela's brother. He loved the sea. He had a fine schooner for fishing.
Angela tells me you enjoy fishing, research. Name your fish, and I promise you boatloads of it.
Sounds wonderful. I have no preference. Law, any fighting game fish is fine sport.
The day is perfect. The wind is perfect. Everything we need is aboard.
It's all very easy, isn't it?
It is as it should be. For fishing we need wind, sail, and sea, and fish. So we have them.
Hard to believe.
I dare to see and believe.
Well, the wind is failing.
Wow. And this must be the spot. The best waters.
The best?
We would not have stopped here if they were not the best.
Nice arrangement. Well, where's the gear?
The lines are out. They're just right. Go. See for yourself.
It's a strike, Boss. A strike here on the starboard line.
Pull him in, Lisa. He's all yours.
Oh, it's albacore, a giant. Oh, he stopped fighting. There's no fighting.
Pull him in, Lisa. He's a perfect albacore. Perfect.
Never saw a fish get in so quickly. Practically jumped out of the deck. It kept down that way all day. Every fish that found our line fairly flopped into the schooner of its own volition. Laura had promised me a boatload of fish. We had them when Angela met us in port at evening. And there had been no struggle, no effort even in lifting the great fish off the line. It was phenomenal and rather frightening. Some days later, Angela suggested a deer hunt. And with La, we walked through the beautiful countryside, through fields, toward the wooded hills.
Look ahead, my love. Take your sight.
Oh, yes.
The first shot is yours, Lisa.
All right.
You see, love? Directly ahead. Perfect deer.
Yes, I see. Perfect deer. 30 or 40 of them. Lined up like targets. Couldn't miss one if I tried.
Fire, Lisa.
I can't.
You want a deer. Oh, there they are,
No,
darling.
Angela, listen to me. Don't you see? We haven't hunted for deer. Part of the thrill of hunting is the hunt itself. And then the finding of your game, matching your wits against his. And then if you win, you've won something. Do you understand?
But you said you wanted deer.
And when we fished, you said you wanted fish. Now, look. If I said I wanted to hunt bear instead of deer, then all the bear I could shoot would be in the sights of my gun. And if I said quail or dust the sky overhead had become black with them, is that true?
Yes, my love. That is all true.
Yes, perfect. Like all things. No, but that isn't perfect. Can't I make you see? Oh. Look, Angela, just you and Laura, go on, would you? I want to be alone a while.
Of course, darling. That is perfectly all right with me.
Perfectly. Perfectly. I turned and walked, in no direction, toward no place. Inside, I was all fury and confusion and something more. I don't know why, but I was reacting to the constant smiles of Angela and Lar with something like terror. Then I stopped and lay on a spot of cool green grass to rest and think and not think.
What are your questions, Lisa?
Zane,
I said I'd be nearby to answer when you needed me.
It's hard to question. I just find perfection difficult to understand.
Do you doubt it, the perfection?
No, I've seen and known many perfect things.
You wanted assurance that there was no struggle here in the perfect place. You'll see no struggle. Have you, Lisa?
No, none. But you must see everything. The fish, the deer, they have no fight in them. There's no sport, no challenge.
You wanted no struggle. You cannot have both struggle and no struggle. He once berated existence as a thing men struggled through and died struggling to live.
I know.
Your processing will go on, Risa. Step by step, it will go on. There will be no struggle. And you will realize that you cannot improve on perfection.
And when I turned to answer Zine, he was gone again. I knew he would be. He was gone. But that terror was still with me. There was goodness and kindness. There was plenty. Why did I fear it? What was its terror? My thoughts went to Angela. And soon we were together again, as if nothing other than perfection had passed between us. She took me into a village I hadn't seen before. The life there was simple, but perfect.
Is it not beautiful here, my love? Is not everything and everyone beautiful?
Angela, what do all the people of this village do?
Do?
How do they live? Do they work? Are there jobs to do?
Everyone does what he wants.
No. Who tills the fields and plants them? Who builds the homes?
So many questions always, my love. And questions about the simplest of things. The field. One goes there when one wants something. And one finds it. The home. So they're just here. What is to build a home?
Nothing to be achieved because all things have been achieved. There's no work because all the work has been done.
That sounds very well. Does it please you?
Yes, I guess it does.
Look, the men at the canvases across the way, they're painting. Is that doing something?
Well, let's have a look.
Oh, lovely painting. Perfectly lovely, are they?
This one is quite a good landscape.
And this one here. Do look at this, Lisa. You see? Perfectly lovely.
Oh, but they're just the same. They're identical. Every flower, the tree, the hill, just the same in color and size. Angela.
What is it, darling?
3 men painting pictures, and they're each exactly like the others?
Well, there is just one perfect landscape of this sort. How could it be otherwise? There is only one way to be, to do, to paint. And that is perfect.
And there's just one perfect book because there's just one perfect way to set words down?
Of course, my love. The perfect way.
Oh, no.
I wish Laura were here.
Tell me, this perfection, is it conformity? Angela, you wished me here.
Laura, he's full of questions.
Oh, just one question, Laura. Is perfection conformity? Must everyone think and do and act and write and paint in just one way? There is just one perfect way. Well, Zine didn't say I'd have to give up the things that make me me. That I couldn't work toward goals of achievement. That I must give up challenge in order to live in the perfect place. And you are so different, Risa. Angela, what if I should leave you? What if I were no longer your love? Would that be all right with you?
If that is what you wish. Perfectly all right, darling.
Perfectly. You're crazy. Tuckett ought to be here. Should see what I've seen. He'd laugh his head off at me. Tuckett? Yeah. Someone who has a chance to work and dream and set goals for himself. And make mistakes. Honest mistakes. Gambles to win or lose. He can take his chances. I think this Tuckett must be a very strange man. And I think this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
What an odd gesture. I've never seen one man strike another before.
All right, Laura, come on, get up. Let's make a good fight of it, huh? A perfect fight. Come on. Your hand becomes a peculiar color. Oh, you won't fight back. You won't fight back because there's no struggle here. You mention this word struggle often. Is it a good word? Struggle? Yes. Yes, I think it is.
They were smiling when I left, the whole village smiling broadly, and waved at me happily. I ran, and then walked, and then ran again. The mountains surrounding the great valley were tall and steep, but I had to get through them or around them or over them somehow. I had to escape this perfect place.
You have further questions, Risa?
Just one, Zane. How do I get out of here?
Get out. You want to leave the perfect place?
Yeah, and I'm leaving, and you can't stop me.
I would not try to stop you. If you really want to go, here, let me show you the way.
This is no trap?
Well, there is one thing.
Yes.
If you go, you can never return.
That's fine with me. In fact, that's perfect.
You'll be going back to the struggle.
This perfection, it's filthy, it's vicious, it's insidious somehow.
You prefer the struggle, then?
To this? Yes. The struggle is wrong. It shouldn't have to be. But we'll work on it. Every succeeding generation, at least there's work to be done, and the incentive is there to do it. Oh, brother, wait till I tell people about this perfect place.
Yes, Lisa. Tell them you found the perfect place. Tell them about the beauty, the perfection, about Angela and Lars and me. Tell them you were here. You saw it. That there's no struggle. Tell them you saw all this and ran. Will anyone believe?
My lips formed an answer, but no words came. And then suddenly there was no Zine and no perfect place. Only the rain beating on my face as I lay at the foot of a high wall, and I felt the hard pain in my back. Then I remembered it all, the beggar, Berserker, the walled Arab town beyond. It couldn't have happened very long before. I couldn't have lain there long. And I remembered that Tuckett was staying at the Hotel North Africa. And I hurried there to him. Tuckett! Tuckett, open the door! Tuckett! Good heavens, what's all the racket about? I'm sorry. I was anxious to find you again. I got in a fight in the native quarter. It was a mistake. I've been lying wet and cold in some back alley for an hour or so, and it's Reeser, isn't it? What? Reeser. Well, of course. Look, don't you remember a dinner earlier this evening? Reeser, of course, and I remember the dinner. I haven't seen you since, but after all, I should remember. It was only a year ago. Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you The Return by Kathleen Heights, starring Lawrence Dobkin. Featured in the cast were Edgar Barrier and Gene Bates, with Paul Dubov, Tom McKee, and Paul Freese. Editorial supervision is by John Meston, and the special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are hiding, crouched waist deep in the murky waters of the Louisiana bayou. While closing in on you, coming towards you through the night, is a lusting mob, screaming for your life.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Jonathan Blaine's strange tale of adventure, The Loup-Garou.
Instant Ralston and regular Ralston, the hot whole wheat cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, fast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have reached the end of an underground passage on the planet Mercury. Through their portable spacephones, they hear Major Robertson up on the surface.
Commander, how about going back to the ship? I've got a strange feeling about this whole layout.
You might as well, Robbie. We can't go any farther. Come on, Hap. Yes, sir. Commander, there's a gate sliding shut. It's sealed in. A stone gate cut us off. Commander. Where's that noise coming? Commander? Commander, where are you?
What's the matter, Hap?
Major, the commander was right here beside me, and now he's vanished.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Dimension. Hi, this is Captain Dick Tufeld, Space Patrollers, ringing your doorbell today with an extra special message from Commander Corey for all you Space Patrollers about the brand new, sensational Monoview Outer Space Helmet. The terrific space helmet the Commander wants all of you to have for your very own. Now, just wait till you see it. And wait till you try it on. A whole foot high. It fits anybody, looks like a robot head. And it has a swell one-way mirror stratoviewer. You can see out, but nobody can see in. It sure is a neat disguise. Nobody can tell who you are. It comes in glowing space colors, red, yellow, green, and black, with two real-for-sure-looking oxygen tanks printed on, and a gleaming lightning flash hood. Now, here's how to get yours. Buy a package of good hot Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send the instant or regular Ralston box top and 25 cents in coin to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Dimension. North of the equator of the planet Mercury is a low dome of rock known as Gombine's Knoll, named for its eccentric owner, Boris Gombine. His exact source of income is unknown, even to his closest associates. But he has a reputation for backing fantastic schemes and allowing himself to be imposed upon by men of doubtful worth. Even his confidential secretary, Mark Duncan, occasionally feels called upon to offer Gombine a word of caution.
It's not that this Dr. Farandol is dishonest, Mr. Gombine. He's wasting your money.
Well, not to change the subject, Duncan, but did you hear about the Planet X Resources project?
Yes, sir. The company must mean business. They've put up a $2 million credit bond to guarantee that they'll complete some basic developments there inside of a year.
Well, I'm not interested in Planet X. I'm interested in that $2 million credits. Why should it lie there in the vault of the Terra Bank when I could use it?
But the bank is protected by every detection and warning device known to science.
Yes, quite true, Duncan, up to a point, but I would like to show you something. Come with me, would you? There.
Why, this machine used to be in Farandol's lab.
Yes, his N-ray machine. Stand back a moment, Duncan. I'm going to turn the machine on. Now, watch that wall over there.
What? Dr. Farandol.
But oh, Mr. Gambin, the N-ray, you used it on me.
Yes, I was just showing Duncan how it worked. Hope I didn't alarm you too much.
It is somewhat of a shock. One instant I was in my lab, and the next time standing here.
You came right through solid walls and floors without being hurt?
Exactly.
And now, Duncan, do you see the enormous possibilities of the N-ray?
It's overwhelming. I don't know what to think.
This experimental model has a limited range, a few hundred yards at most. However, a more powerful N-ray generator can move objects from one planet to another.
How much money would be needed to construct such a generator?
Oh, a prohibitive amount for any private person. About 2 million credits.
2 million, eh? Well, perhaps that amount is not as far beyond reach as it seems. Not nearly so far.
Several days later, on the man-made planet Terra, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are in a storeroom in the security lab in Space Patrol headquarters. Suspended on racks are several new type spacesuits, which Happy has seen for the first time.
Notice the helmet particularly, Happy. It was especially designed for Space Patrol use. Officially, it's called the Monoview Outer Space Helmet.
It looks great, sir, except, well, what about the facepiece?
Why, something wrong?
Well, it's got solid metal over it. How can you see where you're going or what you're doing?
Maybe you'd better test it. Here, try on the helmet.
The facepiece sure is metal, but well, what is it? Silver or polished Endurium?
Neither. It's a new plastic.
Oh, a facepiece you can't see through. That doesn't seem like a very practical... Smoking rockets, I can see through it after all.
Then it's all right?
Hey, it's wonderful. I can see you in the lab just as clearly, and hey, you must have made an adjustment on the helmet when I put it on.
No, Hap. Take it off and see for yourself.
Okay. Hey, it looks like solid metal again.
That's the Mystic Strataviewer, Hap. That eyepiece is a unique feature of the Monoview Outer Space Helmet. The wearer can see out, but no one can see in.
Hey, that's terrific. That would sure be an advantage on a secret patrol.
You bet it would. In outer space, the Mystic Strataviewer lens cuts out harmful ultraviolet rays.
And this new helmet is going to be a regular issue to all space patrols?
Right, Hap.
I suppose Major Robertson has tested the helmets already.
Yes, he thinks they're great. Oh, Robbie, I was just showing Happy the new Monoview Outer Space Helmet.
Commander, I've just learned 2 million credits have disappeared from the vault of the Terra Bank.
Huh?
Disappeared? How?
That's a mystery. No alarms were tripped. There's no trace of forced entry.
An inside job. It's got to be.
Only 3 bank officials know the combination of the vault. Not one of them could have opened the vault without the knowledge and cooperation of the other 2. This morning, the 3 bank officers entered the vault in presence of witnesses to look for a missing document. They found the document, all right, exactly where one of the officers had put it by mistake, in the Planet X Resources Project vault. But the money was gone. 2 million credits can't disappear without at least one clue, and we're going to find it.
Elsewhere, back on Mercury, Boris Gombean places a stack of credits in his private safe. He locks it and then turns to his assistant.
Well, there we are, Duncan. Thanks to the N-ray, we've 2 million credits.
I'm glad it's over. I could never go through that again.
Oh, there was nothing to it.
Not for you, maybe. To be in a surface car on the street 1 second, and to be inside a bank vault the next. To pass through Endurium walls like water through a sieve.
Think what we can do now.
With money enough to build a super powerful N-ray generator.
What about Farrington?
He won't know I'm using it until after he's constructed the big generator. Come in. Oh, yes, Dr. Farrington, what is it?
I've been doing considerable thinking about further financing of my N-ray, Mr. Corbett.
But that is my department, after all. You need do is work on a technical area.
I know, but it occurs to me that the United Planets government might be glad to help out, now that we have a working model.
For the time being, it's best that I handle the financing my own way. The government doesn't need to know about your invention.
But it already does.
What?
Some months ago, I sent a preliminary description of the N-ray principle to the security division of the Space Patrol.
You mean they know about the N-ray?
No, not the full theory. I didn't have it thoroughly worked out at that time.
That was very foolish of you, Farrington. Were you working here on Mercury when you sent that message?
Yes, I had just arrived.
This hurts me deeply. I advise you to send another message immediately telling the security division that the N-ray principle was entirely wrong.
Why should I do that? It isn't true, it won't.
Well, suppose some government scientist should go to work on your theory. If they independently produce a workable N-ray machine, where does that leave me? What chance would I have to get back my investment? Now, is that gratitude, Farrington?
I never thought of it that way, Mr. Gombe, without realizing that I've been said.
Biting the hand that feeds you. Well, I would play benefactor to an impractical, self-centered genius.
Please don't feel that way, Mr. Gamble. I'll send a message. I'll tell them I will.
Hours later, in Space Patrol headquarters on Terra, Buzz and Happy carefully go over the brainograph reports from the Terra Bank employees.
Find anything, Happy? No, sir. None of these employees know any more about how that money disappeared than I do. Oh, that reminds me. I was supposed to give you this copy of a message that was sent to the security division.
Who gave it to you?
Major Robertson.
Dr. Michael Farrington, Tom Dean Knoll, Sector L24 Mercury. Professional pride prompts me to report the proven fallacy of my previous communication in regard to the transmission of solid objects by means of ultra-electronic vibration. I regret that my theory of the so-called N-ray operating in another dimension through hyperspace was announced prematurely.
Why did Robbie want me to see that? He didn't say. I guess he thought you needed a laugh. Well, what does it mean, if anything?
I don't know. Any man who comes out and admits he was wrong is entitled to respect and consideration.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to see that Dr. Farrandall gets a reply the first thing in the morning. Now, let's go over this lab report on the robbery.
The calm serenity that has reigned in Gambine, Knoll, and Mercury has suddenly been broken. Boris Gambine paces the floor of his study while his assistant Duncan futilely tries to pacify him.
Oh, confound those stupid officials. Ordinarily, that money wouldn't have been missed for months.
Doesn't matter, does it? There aren't any clues.
Oh, no clues, except in the files of the security lab, that's all.
You mean Farrandall's N-ray theory?
Yes, and the message I made him send. That'll start the Space Patrol to thinking, and it won't take them long to put two and two together.
Oh, I don't think they'll associate the two events.
Oh, you don't. Duncan, look here, they're faced with a robbery that couldn't have been committed by any known method. And then we come along and suggest a method, Farrandall's N-ray, the possibility of transmitting objects through hyperspace. Practically a blueprint with my name on it.
I don't see what we can do about it now.
I do. We'll put the N-ray back in my spaceship and blast off the Terror, and you're going to get Farrandall's original report out of the security file.
Next morning, in one of the file rooms of the security lab, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy stand in front of a cabinet containing reels of microfilm.
The chief clerk was right, sir. It's not here.
But it was entered in the Master's Journal. Farrandall's theory was received, microfilmed, and filed in this cabinet.
Well, his hyperspace theory was no good anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, there's other information on that reel, Happy. It's very important that anything is missing from these files.
Well, maybe it's just a mistake. It'll turn up.
Major Robertson doesn't think it was a mistake.
Well, he did look pretty worried, but I thought it was about the missing 2 million credits.
Happy's still here. Pretend to be busy with the file. I thought I saw somebody close the door to the next file room.
Oh, but who could be in there? We don't know where he's
Talking over there. I'll see if anyone's in the next room.
Okay. Well, I'll look through this cabinet once more. It's got to be here. Of course, it might have been filed under some other heading. Stay right where you are.
I've got to get out of here. What's the matter with Gambine and the N-ray? There it is. Last. Gambine, what happened? What happened?
Take it easy, Duncan. You're safely back in the ship.
What took you so long? You left me in that fire room for an hour.
I had trouble with the resonator control. Now, did you get the microphone?
Yes, I got it.
Well, then what's the matter? You're white as moon dust.
Commander Corey caught me. Just before you cut the N-ray on.
Yes?
I hit him with my gun. Hard.
Well, if you finished him, so much the better. And now get hold of yourself, Duncan. We're blasting off back to Mercury.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. A man from the moon, a Martian monster, or a citizen of Saturn. That's you, Space Patrollers. Yes, sir, that's you when you put on your new Monoview Outer Space Helmet. Now, when you get it on, take a look in the mirror. Wow, you won't even recognize yourself. And nobody else will know you either because you can see out, but nobody can see in. Yes, sir, gang, that one-way mirror stratoviewer is real magic. Space magic. Oh, think of the fun you'll have playing Space Patrol, equipped with Commander Corey's own official Monoview Outer Space Helmet. Just like a real spaceman. You're ready to go any place in space because your helmet comes complete with 2 real-looking oxygen tanks fitted on and a swell lightning flash hood. It's colored red, yellow, green, and black. Real space colors. And a whole foot high, and it fits anybody. Now, Space Patrollers, send for yours today. Buy a package of good hot Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send the instant or regular Ralston box top and 25 cents in coin to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Dimension. By means of a mysterious N-ray that instantaneously transports objects through space, Boris Gambine has stolen 2 million credits from a vault in the Terra Bank. After the robbery, Gambine learned that a microfilm describing the possibilities of such a ray was on file in the Space Patrol security lab. To recover this incriminating evidence, Gambine used the ray to project his assistant, Mark Duncan, into the security lab. Discovered in a file room by Commander Corey, Duncan dealt Buzz a severe blow with the butt of his gun, and then the thief was whisked out of the lab back to Gambine's spaceship at the Terra spaceport. Right now, in the file room, Happy has discovered the prone figure of Commander Corey.
Commander! Commander!
Where are you?
Here in the rear file room. Hurry! What happened? The commander's been hurt. Somebody slugged him. We were in the other room, and the commander thought he saw this door swing shut. He went to investigate, and then I heard the sound of a scuffle.
Who did it?
I don't know.
But you must have seen who it was. No other way out of this room.
Look, that's right, Major. Where is the guy? Where did he go?
I certainly couldn't hide in here.
He couldn't have sneaked out the door behind me.
If he had, I'd have seen him.
Well, I think the commander's coming around.
You better get him to the infirmary.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Right here, Commander. Hap and I are going to take you to the infirmary.
No, I'll be all right.
Look at that fellow go. Commander, you're sure there was somebody in here? I ought to be sure. He slugged me with his gun. He's not here now. There's no way he could have escaped.
Well, there was no way for that microfilm deal to disappear from the files or for the 2 million credits to vanish from the bank. He's right, Major. Any one of those things occurring by themselves is crazy, but when maybe added together, they mean something.
Yeah, but what?
Suppose there is a ray that can project objects, even people, through walls, and suppose there was proof of that ray in the files. Would that solve all our puzzles? Well, all except why we'd get a message saying the ray was impossible.
Someone's very anxious for us to think it's impossible. Even to the point of using the ray to remove evidence that it exists.
How else could it have been removed? I admit the ray's most unlikely, but it explains all the facts. It gives us something to work on. Well, where do we begin? With this Dr. Farandall? Right. Robbie, gather all the information you can on Farandall. Then you and Happy and I will blast off from Mercury.
Out in space, Boris Gombean has plotted the shortest trajectory between Terra and Mercury. Then, with the problem of astrogation out of the way, he turns to Mark Duncan.
I wish we knew for sure whether or not you finished, Commander Corey. What difference would that make? Except to put us in a worse jam with the Space Patrol. No, that would give us a break. See, how that microfilm disappeared would remain a mystery. But if he's alive to describe your escape from the security lab, well, then somebody is sure to investigate Farandall. Well, then why head back to your place on Mercury? Leave Farandall around to blab everything he knows? Besides, the 2 million credits are at Gombean Knoll. You don't want to leave that fortune there, do you? Not if we can get away safely. Oh, surely we can. Remember, we've a weapon the Space Patrol is powerless against. The N-ray. How can you use it as a weapon? You'll see. I'll need a little instruction from Farandall first. Suppose he won't cooperate. Just leave that to me. Now, stop worrying. When we get to my place, we'll carry the N-ray machine out of the ship and set it up in my study again. Altitude 42 DUs above Mercury, sir. And we're right over the latitude of Gombean Knoll. All right, Happy. Maintain the rate of descent. Yes. Robbie, what's the setup at Gombean Knoll?
Well, there's no atmosphere still, Commander. He's used tunnel-powered drills and chiseled himself a mansion out of a small hill. Passages can be entered on foot through the airlocks if we're lucky.
Get out of spacesuit, Happy. With the new helmet? Right, the rendezvous out of space job. Robbie, you stay on the ship when we land to discourage anyone who tries to leave the knoll.
All right, Commander.
Meantime, in Gombean's study under the knoll, Gombean and Duncan struggle to set up the N-ray machine as Dr. Farandall lies bound to the floor, helpless beside them. A viewscope screen reveals a Space Patrol ship setting down at the foot of the knoll.
Now, look, Duncan. 2 men in spacesuits getting out of the ship. Isn't that machine ready yet? I think so. Here, I'll try it. Something's wrong. All right, what's the trouble, Farandall? What are we doing wrong? You'd better tell us quickly if you know what's good for you. Yeah, you're in the jam with the Space Patrol, too, you know. Right up to the passage airlock. Now, come on, Farandall. Tell us how to work this ray.
What are you going to do with them?
We'll lift them up as high as the ray will take them and then cut off the power. Shut up, Duncan. Farandall, listen. I'm running this show. All we want is a chance to escape. Tell us how to start the N-ray, and I promise not to...
Yes, okay, in the passage, Hap. Open your helmet faceplate. All right, Commander.
The passage branch is off to the left here. Which way do we go? Take the widest branch. Straight ahead. Be sure to keep your suit spacephone on so Robbie can hear. Yes, sir.
How is everything in there?
All right so far, Robbie. Any sign of anybody from your position?
No. I don't like the looks of it.
Looks like you took the wrong turn, Happy. The passage comes to a dead end here.
Hey, Commander, how about coming back to the ship? I've got a strange feeling about this whole layout.
You might as well, Robbie. We can't go any farther. Come on, Hap. Yes, sir. Commander, there's a gate sliding shut. We're sealed in. The stone gate dropped and cut us off. What's the rockets, Commander? Where's that noise coming from? Commander, where are you?
What's the matter, Hap?
Major, the commander was right here beside me, and now he's vanished.
A fraction of a second after he vanishes from the sealed passage, Commander Corey suddenly appears in Gombean's study. The pulsating sound of the N-ray fades, his vision clears, and he looks into the muzzle of a blast gun.
Stand right where you are, Corey, and get your hands up.
We only got one of them.
Oh, that's just as well for the present. The other one's still sealed in the passage. Now, Corey, I'm going to turn off your suit spacerphone and don't move. There.
I assume you're Boris Gombean.
Yes, that's right.
The pilot of the machine there. He's the one who slugged me back at the security lab.
It was a pleasure. Enough of these formalities. Duncan, keep Corey covered while I focus the N-ray.
What are you going to do?
Well, you're going to transfer me to the control compartment of Corey's ship. Yes, that's right, Corey. I'll take care of that pal of yours so fast he won't know what's happening.
You aren't going to leave me here.
Oh, no, of course not. You can bring the money when I spacerphone you from Corey's ship. Corey, take off your spacesuit. Come on, make it snappy. Watch him closely, Duncan.
I am.
All right, reach over and cut on the N-ray. It's all focused. And then cut on the spacerphone.
Okay.
See you later, Duncan.
I'm watching you, Corey. Then he's taking off that spacesuit. Duncan, why don't you quit before you get in any deeper?
Yes, Duncan, listen.
Shut up, Parandall. Gombean and I are running this.
Commander, believe me, I had no knowledge of how they were using my N-ray until just a short time ago.
I said shut up. It isn't going to do you any good to spill your insides to Corey.
Gombean to Duncan. Gombean to Duncan. Come in.
Now, you see, he made it. Duncan here.
Nice work, Duncan. The N-ray plunked me down right behind this pager, and I had told him the deck before he turned around.
What's next?
Now listen carefully. Bring the other space patroller up where you are. Know how to focus the N-ray down the sealed passage, don't you?
Yes, Gombean.
Now, when you get Corey and his pal out of their spacesuits, blast them. Then you and Farandol put on their suits and come to Corey's ship.
What about the N-ray?
Leave it there. With Farandol in our hands, we can have an N-ray that can really show things into line the way we want. All right, you know what to do. And when you come, don't forget the money.
All right, Gombean. Give me about 10 minutes. Nothing out. Now, Corey, keep your hands raised. And if I see one move out of you while I'm focusing this ray machine, I'll let you have it with this blaster. And remember, if I make a slip with the ray, something will happen to your partner down in the passage.
Smoking rockets. Hey, where am I? Gee, Commander, how...
Just drop that ray gun, Cadet. Keep your hand up. See what he says.
Yes, sir.
For all a man who's so nervous, he leaves the vertical rectifier control out of bias on an N-ray is sure to be triggered. Huh? What's that? Go ahead. Overmodulate the whole hyperspace coordinate synchronizer. Parandall, what's he talking about? What's wrong?
I'll show you.
Let go of that blaster, Duncan. Hey, nice going, Commander. That ought to hold him a while.
We've only started, Happy. We've got to get Gombean. He's in our ship waiting for Duncan and Parandall.
What about Major Robertson?
Gombean sneaked up behind him on an N-ray. Now, listen, Hap. Here's what...
Oh, I'm glad you're coming out of it, Major. You're just about to see something quite spectacular.
What are you talking about, Gombean?
Duncan is bringing Farandall out to the ship now. He just shoved him out of the passage airlock. All right, you may stand up if you want to and take a look out the viewport. Just don't try anything. Remember, I have a gun on you. Major, somewhere under that knoll are your pals, and when Duncan and Farandall get aboard, I'm going to blast off, and then you'll have the pleasure of seeing your space patroller buddies blasted with their own ship's space torpedo.
Now, listen, Gombean. You can't do that. Give him a chance.
Oh, shut up. Look out there. Duncan's had a little trouble with Farandall.
Huh? How can you tell?
Well, the one in front has his hands tied behind him, and Duncan is carrying the money. And good, now he's opening the outer hatch. Nice work, Duncan. Put the money down and then take off your helmet and enjoy the show. Well, that faceplate's covered with metal. How can you see out of it?
Oh, it's easy when you know how.
Corey, that's right.
Commander, for a while there, I thought all three of us were done for. He was nearly right. Open Happy's helmet. Help me untie his hands. I added the rope to make it look legitimate.
Fool me, too. Those Montague outer space helmets on, I didn't know who was in those suits.
Thanks, Major.
We'll lock Gombean back aft. When it happened, I'll go back to Duncan and Farandall.
Yeah, when we left, Farandall was begging us to destroy his N-ray.
He was? Why? It occurred to him that somebody might get hurt.
You know, something tells me he may be right.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Did you hear that, Space Patrollers? Did you hear how the sensational Montague outer space helmet Save the day-to-day for the Commander, Cadet Happy, and Major Robertson?
That's right, Dick. It's the finest piece of equipment ever developed in the Space Patrol laboratories. And that's why I want all you Space Patrollers to have a helmet just like mine. It's a whole foot high. Makes a wonderful disguise because that one-way strataviewer lets you see out, but nobody else can see in. Has 2 full-size oxygen tanks and breathing tubes printed on, and a gleaming lightning flash hood. And here's the biggest surprise of all. You can get this terrific new outer space helmet for just 25 cents in our Ralston box top. Yes, just 25 cents. Now listen carefully. Here's Captain Tufeld to tell you how to get your Monoview outer space helmet.
Just buy a box of good hot Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and the instant or regular Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy, helpless from the effects of a paralyzer ray, are in a lab ship out beyond the Jupiter orbit.
They sure gave us a stiff charge with that ray, Commander. It isn't even beginning to wear off.
Yes, every second we have to lie here, Vinker and Betts are getting farther away.
What's that?
That equipment over there, Happy.
The equipment? But I disconnected it.
Vinker must have hooked it up again. When that electrical charge fills up, this whole lab ship will be blown to pieces.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Wistful Wizard of Neptune's Moon, when Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Dever. Other players were Lawrence Dodkin, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present Space Patrol! This is Dick Tufeld in Los Angeles, reporting on America's most heavily armed fighter interceptor, the Northrop Air Force Scorpion F-89D. In a moment, we'll hear from the test pilot on this plane, Bob Love, Korean jet ace, with a record of 6 MiGs in 6 weeks. Primary job of the Scorpion is to protect our country from invading aircraft. Speed more than 600 miles an hour. Weight 20 tons. Now, Bob Love, recorded at Edwards Air Force Base.
You know, a fella has to be in top condition to test fly a fast aircraft such as the Scorpion. That's why I always make it a rule to sleep well and eat well. So, for breakfast, I pick a cereal like Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. They're chock full of energy and really taste good. You'll like them.
No other cereal, puffed or flaked, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So take a tip from Bob Love, Phil Houghton, and other top test pilots. Make your cereals Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. And here's big news. Inside a Chex, you now get a thrilling new Space Patrol trading card. Flip 'em, trade 'em, collect a whole set of 40. 3 Space Patrol trading cards inside of Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast for Armed Forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.